instead of building shelter and teaching itself how to read. This chimp is named Bolo, and researchers at Duke University have shown that he can solve three-dimensional logic puzzles, an impressive feat indeed, until you learn that human children as young as 3 are also able to solve the puzzle. Even a mentally handicapped human is capable of verbal speech, something no chimpanzee has ever been able to accomplish, despite working vocal cords capable of howling in irritation after soiling itself. Chimps have been observed using tools, but their tools are little more than sticks. Even driving and preparing pancakes, tasks we leave to the stupidest, least educated humans, lay beyond the capabilities of the chimp.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can help spread the ideas of liberty with our Patreon for just $5 per month at amps.freetalklive.com.
Welcome to Declare Your Independence on the Free Talk Live Network.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
No fear here on Declare Your Independence. Ernest Hancock coming to you from Roosevelt, Arizona, which is in the mountains, desert east of Phoenix, Arizona. Now, Phoenix is in a valley. There's a mountain range. If you go over that mountain range to the east, you'll find what's called Roosevelt Lake. And it's a large lake. Of all of the lakes and the reservoirs combined in Arizona, if every single lake was full and Roosevelt was empty, it'd be about 5% of the capacity. So Roosevelt, it says it's, 80% full. That means it's like the whole entire system is 75% full. I mean, it's an enormous lake and the biggest reservoir here in Arizona that feeds the valley. Now, next to that, up in the mountains to the west of that, going up the east side of the slope of the mountain range that separates that area from the valley, the Phoenix area, is a canyons up here, and it's where Revis Mountain School here is run by a guy named Peter Bigfoot that's been here for decades, guy like the 80s, and that's a whole nother long story that Frank introduced me, Frank Tamburri from the True Up Report. We years ago, like a decade ago, we come up here. Bob Anderson, that is a good friend, he had been up here hiking before and so on, and it's very remote. And as we brought the Jeep back here, it was a lot further than I remember off of the road, because I'd been here like a decade ago. So we took our time today. Donna got to have a tour. Peter gave us, he's 82 years old now. Man, he'd kick your butt too. The guy's got it going on. But there's a bunch of chickens you may hear in the background, turkeys, they have large gardens, and they have a spring that runs through, and you got cactus everywhere. I mean, all around here, saguaro cactus and stuff. But you have this one itty-bitty stream that when it rains, it'd be a flood. Well, they have solar-powered everything and solar-powered well pump that takes it from the creek and puts it into a 9,000-gallon water tower now, or tank that's on the ground that goes up, at least 20 feet or so. Well, that one is 9,000 gallons. During the summer, when he's watering trees and plants, he goes through that tank twice a day. So we're talking like 20,000 gallons oh my goodness, you need some water. But he's turned it into an oasis of learning also. Now, he knows a lot of botanicals, the plants here in the desert, that he takes, and I guess he uses alcohol, he uses moonshine, and he makes tinctures. And that's how Dr. Frank knows him. It was classes that were done for medical students that come out and learn natural herbs and healing and so on, which he does classes on that too. Now, what has happened, I talked to Peter a little bit. We've been yakking it for hours, and it took us like 2.5 hours to get out here from the West Valley. And it was a beautiful drive. It's a great day, and man, giant sorrels everywhere. Well, here in this little valley, you have trees. It's 60, 70, 80-foot trees, because you have water. So it's very remote, very isolated, you got to know what you're doing or you're going to die. But he knows what he's doing. He's got a really nice place to live up here, but also has lots of students, interns, people that want to learn how to live off the land, people that want to make sure that they are healthy and understand about plants. And so Revis Mountain School, I think that's what they call it, right?
School of Self-Reliance.
Revis, Reevis, I believe.
Correct.
Now, we'll include some pictures Donna put just getting up here. The canyons you go through and the riverbeds, beautiful. So you can take a look. That's what you're seeing. We just took these a couple hours ago, these pictures that you're seeing here. So this is really unique. Now, the reason we're up here is Cobus is a gentleman from South Africa. Now, he came to America to land of milk and honey, and then...
land of the free.
Well, he thought that. And then he found out, maybe not so much. So we'll get to Cobus here in a little bit. But the reason is because we have a good friend that a lot of you may know in Colorado that one of his relatives had encouraged him to talk to Cobus about doing an invisible trust. You hear about trust all the time. Put this in a trust. So we've been researching that as we are getting ready to take possession, take ownership, purchase. Here's the money. Give me my deed for land. And Donna and I were, we're really getting a lot of pressure from a lot of the sellers that want to close deals before the end of the year. And I know why. Because by the end of the year, all of a sudden, what are we going to find out? We're going to find out that the economics of this planet is going to go kapooey. And we've been sitting back waiting, here we go. Well, do we wait? Do we get a chance of losing the properties that we want? Or do we kind of, this pile of assets is getting bigger than that pile of dirt, and then we'll make the exchange. But when we do the exchange, how will we take ownership and possession of the land? Well, our good friend up in Colorado, he said, you got to talk to this guy, Cobus, and he happens to be in Arizona. So we got, text messaging back and forth or telegramming, whatever. And he goes, yeah, I'm in. We get him on the phone. He goes, yeah, I'm in this small town. It's called Roosevelt. I'm like, oh, okay, Lake Roosevelt over there is a little, it's not much of a town, but, I know about where you're at. And so you're kind of in Arizona. You're over the mountain over there a couple hours away. I mean, as a crow flies, not that far, but you got to drive around the mountain. So I'm going, and he started describing it. Yeah, a guy that's up here. I'm going, you at Peter Bigfoot's place? Reason he goes, holy crap, you know him? It's like, yeah, some of us do. So we got to come up and visit with him, and he's 82. It's been a decade since I've seen him. He looks the same. I mean, the guy got this you work hard youth thing going on. So what happened was, as I remember it, we'll maybe we can bring in Peter. He's busy off doing stuff, and we can clarify this. But there was a group of, you call them homesteaders now, but a lot of them back then, the zombie apocalypse of the Cold War between Russia and the U.S., and this is back in the oil embargoes, and the Moscow Olympics, get boycotted by the Winter Olympics by the U.S., and Afghanistan gets invaded. People are like, what? Man, zombie apocalypse be a coming, Armageddon be a coming. So we need to find a place that we can ride this out, be healthy outside of the radiation cloud, and be able to survive and be healthy. And that's where this place came in. So that had a lot of popularity at the time. A lot of people wanted to be up there. They started building, and then it became more of a school, and they got a lot of production, show you what they can do, and they're doing it. They added solar. They got homes made of big, giant rocks. I'm like, how in the heck did you move these rocks, man? This is Egyptian stuff. What the heck? Well, I used to be stronger. You ain't that strong. I don't know if you had help with that one or a machine or something, but there's some of these buildings are here to stay forever. So it's been really interesting to see. Now he wants to protect it. It's like, I'm not sure what the details is. Cobus can help us with that. But that's why Cobus is here. Now, he's from South Africa, and during the years of the apartheid police state, and he came to America to study computer science. He later got his bachelor's of computer science, and his anticipation of being in the land of the free and the home of the brave, and he became very disappointed pretty soon. It took him a few years to discover that America was really just a slave plantation with willing slaves that are subjected to they, them, those. So as he started doing a little bit more research and everything, he's finding, because from South Africa, you have the tradition of common law. That's, you're going up against the crown, at least that used to be. And then, of course, they beat that out of you, But in America, he's going, well, maybe they know what it's like to, be free, and none of this, Freemason, Statanism, lying, cheating court system, we ripped it off from you, kind of thing. So then he's like, all right, well, now America's become the biggest police state on the planet. It has a high incarceration rate. And he wanted to, learn what happened to America. So as he went on this discovery, he discovered private, non-statutory trusts and how it can protect you and your assets from they, them, those, and the man. So this is what he has been working on, and over time he created the web page. You'll find it in the description archive page here. Now, this show is, what is today? It is December 18th or 19th?
19th.
December 19th, 2023. So you go to that, or you look up Cobus, Kobus, in our guest list in the archive, and you'll come to this show. Now, his webpage is theinvisibletrust.org, theinvisibletrust.org. Now, we are interested because how do we take possession? How do we list who the owner, not owner, trustee, what, all that stuff on our land that we wish to purchase. And, how will we structure it? What will we call it? How would we, enter in any relationship, if at all, with the man? So this is why we got Cobus up here, and it just happened to be he was in Arizona, and we were willing to make the effort to come up and show Donna, the facility up here and what's going on, and to have a conversation with Cobus. All right, so I'm going to shut up because I wanted to get all that in, because once he goes, you can't stop him, all right? It's kind of like me. So what we're going to do is turn it over to Cobus, fill in any gaps that I had here, and then what we're talking about, why this is important, and the biggest thing is how safe am I? I'll just do it here. Well, Cobus said it was okay. Well, he's in South Africa. Man, what the heck? You're going to save me? He's going to come talk to the man for me? How's this going to go? So that's what we're going to do. Cobus, welcome to the show. I'm glad we got to come up and visit with you and reconnect with Peter Bigfoot and his staff up here and so on. And how did you find out about Peter Bigfoot? What's he doing? He's in Arizona like me. I want to be like Peter Bigfoot. What's he doing? So go ahead and explain what you're doing for him and how it might apply to us.
Thank you, Ernie. I appreciate your invite to be on your show. I'm very honored to be here. So, Peter Bigfoot, I think COVID woke a lot of people up, and I think a lot of people realize, we're not free. And so everybody that's drawn to this whole freedom movement, right, and wanting to learn to live free, to be left alone, if anybody's seen the movie The Free State of Jones, you all got to go watch that. And the famous speech done by
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey, exactly. The 4 or 5 points that he made in that speech should put chills up your spine. So guys like Peter and a lot of people that I meet all over the country, okay, we're all cut from the same cloth. We want to be left alone, and so and I'm going to go into explaining to you guys why it is that you're being regulated and why you're being controlled. But so Peter was introduced to me by a mutual friend, and Peter was actually set up with initially with a 501c3. We all know that a 501c3 is a tax-exempt organization, but I call it an IRS church because that's exactly what it is. It's the IRS, regulating and controlling your religious activities. Well, that goes completely against the spirit of the First Amendment, that no law can exist respecting religion over another or prohibiting the free exercise of religion. So I'm not here today to kind of, get you guys all religious or promoting a particular type of religion or whatever, but there's some benefits if you set yourself up with a religious trust. If you ever encounter a judge in America and he's telling you to do something, guess what? One of the ways you can weasel out of it, you could just say, hey, that's against my religion. And that works really well because no judge or anybody can compel another person to do something that goes against your religion, conscience,
unless
and belief.
They want you to take a vaccination.
Well, you can say that's against my religion too. And
there's a lot of. Matter of fact, my youngest daughter is in a case right now on that very thing, and it looks like they're getting worried now. They're even asking all the tens of thousands of armed forces that you had because you refused to get vaccination. Hey, you want to come back? It's all good, man. It's all forgiven. We forgot. Being a Christian, the audience knows that Don and I and our family are Christian. And I was looking for, we even looked at this before, is that if we wanted to go some kind of a trust or church status or something like that, what would be the line? And I think it was Peter said it, and this is something I've used in the past, is that when they went to Christ and they go, this money right here, look at this here money. Right. Do you have to pay taxes? Are you a taxpayer? Are you a tax scofflaw, to Christ? And he goes, I don't know. Well, show me this, this money you're talking about.
They try to trap him to see if he's a tax evader.
Right. Yeah. So he shows the coin, and it's got Caesar's face on it. It looks like his, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's and God's. And then my question was, as a young man, with a young family in church, and I go, is there anything not Caesar's? Because they're going to claim everything. They go, it's all ours, and here's your happy shot, and you'll own nothing, that kind of thing. So I'm just like, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. Okay, well I'm saying I am not Caesar's. My life, my liberty, my that is not Caesar's. I render unto Caesar that which is, what? I'm not using his money. I'll do, precious metals, freaking cords of wood, crypto, whatever. It's not his, okay? So that mindset right there, man, I take me a religious exemption. So I'm looking at that, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, but I need them to define what is Caesar's, and they want to say everything. Yeah, so I want to say it's not. So now what?
Now, I have always known deep in my spirit that this body that was given to me by the divine creator, belongs to me, and it was a gift to me. And so the fruit that this body produces does not belong to the IRS. It doesn't belong to Caesar. So how is it that they're able to lay a stake and lay a claim to get their share? And I figured it out.
This here F-16.
Firstly, we have to ask the question, well, what is a tax? Because Christ was confronted with the same question, are we supposed to pay tax? He didn't directly answer him. He first asked him questions. Well, whose face is on this coin? They said Caesar. It says, well, then render to Caesar that which belongs to Caesar, but render to God that which belongs to God. Well, does your body belong to Caesar? No, Caesar didn't create me. Okay, so how does the scam works? Well, guess what? Firstly, let's define what is a tax. A tax or an income tax is the usage fee or the royalty payment on the use of somebody else's property. Well, what property? My body, the fruit of my labor? No way. Guess what, guys? I usually tell people they're not taxing you; they're taxing the use of your commercial title, dummy. Your name is not your name. That name on your driver's license and your passport, your ID, is not your name. That is not you. It's an artificial construct, and anything that you run through that title, through that name, well, you have to give to Caesar his share. Because the government set that up upon your birth, okay? So they waited until your parents named you, and then they established a trust, which is very similar sounding in the name, but the problem in this country and around the world is that people are suffering from an identity crisis. So I would ask people, well, what's your full legal name? I'm going to use an example. They'll tell me, my name is John Henry Smith. I'm like, okay, there's the problem right there, because that's the name of a trust, okay? And so that's what they're taxing, is the use of John Henry Smith. My name is John Henry, but I'm of the family Smith. So anytime, whether it's in all caps or upper, lower, it doesn't matter. If you see the first, the middle, and the last name combined, or if you don't have a middle name, if it's just the first and the last name combined, that's the name of a Cestui trust. I'll spell that for you. Cestui, and then Que. To learn more about the Cestui, you need to go back and do a Google search on the Cestui VIE Act of 1666. And when the Vatican created the trust and declared everybody lost at sea and or dead until the living man comes forth. So learn more about that. But the nature of the trust that the government created is also known as a constructive trust. Okay, and I encourage everybody to go pick up a copy of the Black's Law Legal Dictionary and look up the definition of words, guys. You'll be amazed at what you find there, and the words that you think mean things mean exactly the opposite.
Okay, I want to inject here a little bit, to give some credibility to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
As I went through I've been to the Ninth Circuit as my own attorney, oral argument before the Ninth Circuit. I've got 3 cases, Supreme Court in Arizona. I've dozen lawsuits. I'm just a butthead. I mean, when I was in the 90s, I wanted, one, make them make you, and make them say it. Mm-hmm. Say it! I mean, I just wanted to make them say it. I wanted to understand. No, say it. Because a lot of times, it's just a hologram. They present these shadows on the cave wall and just kind of scare you, and if you press back even a little bit, they go, damn it, he found out. I mean, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So when you start talking about, I've heard all this before, the capital letter this and the trust that, and they use this as collateral.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Benji Haya. A powerful earthquake in Japan's triggered a tsunami warning along the country's west coast, where huge waves have already reached the shore. Monday's quake caused homes to collapse and ripped up roads. Residents are being evacuated from affected areas. Several hospitals are without power. The tsunami alert is Japan's first since a 2011 earthquake, which left close to 20,000 people dead. From Tokyo, Chris Gilbert brings us the latest.
We have a 7.6 magnitude earthquake, and that effectively has triggered a number of tsunamis which we've seen begin to hit Japan. These have ranged from a few centimeters in height to about 1.6 meters. The enormous tsunami which hit Japan about 12 years ago was 13 to 30 meters, so these are much smaller.
No irregularities have been found yet from nuclear power plants along the Sea of Japan. Elsewhere, Ukraine says Russia launched a record number of drones over the new year as the two countries exchanged fire. Julia Chapman has the details.
Ukraine's Air Force said it shot down 87 of 90 drones launched by Russia in the early hours of January 1st. The head of the Russian-held Donetsk region said Ukraine carried out massive shelling overnight. Aerial attacks by Russia and Ukraine have intensified in recent days. Russia launched its largest ever wave of missile and drone attacks at cities across Ukraine on Friday, killing 28 people.
A Ukrainian air raid on the Russian city of Belgorod on Saturday killed 25 people. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he's ready to intensify attacks against Ukraine's military targets. In neighbouring China, leader Xi Jinping claims Taiwan will be reunified with China. His remarks, made in his annual New Year's Eve address, come just days before Taiwan's presidential election. Beijing believes the self-governing island and its 23 million citizens should be under its control. China's ramped up military pressure on the territory ahead of the vote. Taiwan's government accuses the superpower of interfering in democracy. The Israeli military says it expects the conflict in Gaza to continue throughout 2024, with troops preparing for prolonged fighting in the Strip. Some 22,000 people, mostly women and children, have been killed in Gaza since October 7th, when Hamas killed 1,200 people in Israel and kidnapped hundreds more. The war spilled out to the wider region, with Houthi rebels from Yemen attacking commercial ships in the Red Sea. The United States Navy sunk 3 boats operated by the Iranian-backed militants. The UK, too, is standing by, as Simon Gaitan reports.
Defence Secretary Grant Shapps said in a newspaper article that the UK's forces in the Red Sea are willing to take direct action against Houthi rebels, having already shot down drones targeting international shipping through the Gulf.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
This hour of Declare Your Independence on the Free Talk Live Network is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is a cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. Let's talk about your positive experiences using Dash. Dash has transaction fees that are less than 1 cent. Dash transactions are instant, irreversible, and are protected from 51% attacks by its chain locks technology. Dash is the world's first decentralized autonomous organization. BitRefill allows for discounted purchases at national retailers. We want to thank DAO for sending us 32 Dash per month to promote Dash on the air. Visit Dash.org to learn about Dash. Dash.org is one of the oldest cryptocurrencies and is widely available on exchanges and in multi-crypto wallets. It's easy to get and use. Dash. Start by learning more at Dash.org. Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, on the Free Talk Live Network. On Genesis, we're talking to Cobus J, the InvisibleTrust.org. TheInvisibleTrust.org. Lots of great information on how you can maintain your privacy, your wealth, and your leave me aloneism. Let's continue listening in my conversation with Cobus J, TheInvisibleTrust.org. Make them make you, and make them say it. Mm-hmm. Say it! I mean, I just wanted to make them say it. I wanted to understand. No, say it. Because a lot of times, it's just a hologram. They present these shadows on the cave wall and just kind of scare you and, and if you press back even a little bit, they go, damn it, he found out. I mean, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So when you start talking about, I've heard all this before, the capital letter this and the trust that, and they use this as collateral for, China to pay, for treasury bills that, we're all slaved and property on the plantation of the next guy that owns us, So I understand all that. The thing is that I'm looking for things that they left open for they, them, those, the elite, the connected. They know how to do. Yeah, we can do it. We don't want the plebes to know, man. Don't tell the people, because then they might do it. That kind of thing. So a lot of times we kind of cross into that territory. Well, it was just I want to remind the audience that we just did a show with David Webb on the book The Taking, The Great Taking, and it's all the preliminaries he was a hedge fund manager that found out in 2008 what was really going on, and that when the Great Reset happens and it all comes crashing down and the bankruptcies go and everything, anything that you have in any kind of financial interest with the government, like your pension funds, your stock certificate, on and on and on and on and on, it's already gone. It's not yours. It's it's like a bank account. Well, it's kind of your money. You just can't use it now, So it's you don't really have property, and they made sure of that in writing, ink on paper. In July of 2008, 3 months before it crashed, I wrote an article, The Greatest Depression, Why We're So Screwed, or Why We're So Screwed, The Coming Greatest Depression. And in that article, I wrote exactly what he was talking about. So I can see here, it's called this is a long story. But the point is I could see that they changed definition and they added little bits of ink on paper that it's not yours now. And it's theirs. And you'll own nothing, and here's your happy shop, okay? So I could see exactly what you're talking about, what they were doing to take all our wealth, but it's also you're finding out it's you. You are collateral for them to, borrow money from China or something. So as you start to realize that all this paper stuff has been for they, them, those to enrich themselves again, just like they've done periodically over time. And this trust thing is how they're doing it. And there's a mechanism by which we can protect ourselves that we can go, okay, we figured out the game, we'll do this. So it's not as crazy to me as it is to a lot of people because I've done enough shows, I've done enough research, I've had it beaten into my head by people just like you trying to convince me this is what you got to do, and you should, and you got it, and if you don't, you're a moron, kind of thing. So right before I'm making the biggest purchase of my life, we're going to be paying cash for land and then building on it ourselves. I'm 62. Donna is, I don't know, whatever, 61, 62. Sometimes we're the same age. But so what happens is now with our 4 kids and 12 grandkids in the valley, why are you living in Arizona, Ernie? Because that's where my grandkids are. And just get over it, That's what's going to happen. So as we're getting ready to take this, I want it of my life's work.
Protected.
Yeah, it's mine.
Exactly.
I'm not doing this for you, piece of... Ugh. So as I go further and further into this, you can see that the paperwork, the filing with the county, the insuring of it, the title research of it. God forbid you do financing, then you're totally screwed. But if you do this, am I able to take this property and it's mine, not theirs, definitely not theirs, mine and not theirs because it's mine. So this is why, and I know that there are hoops, there are classifications, there are taxes, there's jurisdictions, there's venues, there's all kinds of stuff to screw me. And I don't want to go in blind, especially after all this time that I have had so much evidence, so many stories, people like you, but I didn't really have the opportunity. But now, as I'm going to do it, why the hell I want to believe Cobus? When you're going to be in South Africa, or you got a home in Croatia, or I'm like, hey, yo, man, over here, I'm I'm kind of, this sucks. What are you going to do for me? So I need to have a fuller understanding of what you're talking about and how these trusts. You don't have to convince me that they exist. You don't have to convince me that they're using them against me. I got tons of evidence of that. But I need to make sure that, one, it's legal, that we're doing it correctly, that we're defining it correctly, you fill it out correctly, that, there's something else I got to do before. Is there some way I got to be, before I, sign these documents, all of a sudden I got to change everything. I got to go do my driver's license different. You got a driver's license, you communist? I mean, I understand, okay? I've heard this all before. But now I'm ready to do it. So you got to convince me and the audience that I'm, I'm not, jumping out of the frying pan into the fire.
Definitely. Okay? And that's why I have to lay the foundation first and get people to understand first and foremost that your commercial title that you use in commerce is not you. It doesn't belong to you. It's a fiction. It's an artificial construct. More importantly, it's a United States trust account. And if it's a United States trust account, guys, it doesn't belong to you. That means anything that you put in that person's name does not belong to you. You have to go read Senate Document 43 that all property is within the state. So you don't really truly own your land. You only have legal title to it. They have equitable title.
What does that mean? See, that's one thing in the stock. They were saying stock certificates used to be, for 400 years, was property. If your broker went bankrupt, they gave you back your certificate, it's yours. Now it's like, well, you had beneficiary interest in it. You had, this kind of lower down the totem pole of they got paid before you kind of thing. So this is, and they just did it with a stroke of a pen. So I need to know when you say this kind of stuff, I need to be on the top of the list. And as a bank account, you got to have a bank account, but if you're doing any kind of commerce, I need to do it in such a way that I haven't agreed to be their slave from the beginning.
Well, again, like I said, your legal title, when you say I own my house and I own my car, well, who owns it? It's that your first, middle, last name, which is a trust account, which is a United States trust account. That is the entity that owns it. And you think that that's you, but it's not you. So that's why we get away, Rockefeller's famous words, own nothing but control it all. You don't want anything in that your name because your name is not your name. This is why we set up a totally separate trust with a totally different identity. It's got nothing to do with you. Okay, it's gonna have its own EIN number for banking purposes, but we're gonna call the trust something along the lines of help.
Right, EIN number is a identification number for the paying taxes or whatever, which is usually a Social Security number.
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. Persons have Social Security numbers. So if you want a corporation, you need to get an EIN for the corporation. Or in the case of a trust, you get an EIN for the trust. So it has its own identity, okay? So it's got nothing to do with you. So, forget about the driver's license and all of that stuff right now. It's very important that all of you need to look into, at some point, change your status, because it's very important, because the government and the courts automatically assume that you are that trust name. So you are considered the trust, okay, known as John Henry Smith, that first, middle, last name combined. My name is John, but I'm of the family Smith, okay? I don't have a last name. And so when you walk in front of a judge, he asks you to state your name for the record. There you go. You just identified yourself as the trust. So now the judge says, well, that trust is our property, so sit down, shut up. You are now the property. You are the trust. So every one of us are already living in trust. We've been operating under this trust, which is, go flip your money over. On the back of your money, there's the name "In God We Trust" has nothing to do with the American people putting their faith and trust in God. It's the name of a trust. And I can prove it to you. Go to Pennsylvania and you can look it up. It's registered with the Secretary of State. The "In God We Trust" is registered there, doing business as USA Incorporated. Okay? There you go. So all of us are under a trust. Okay? Your legal name.
So wait. So this trust that they got, because I remember, it's USA Inc., after the Depression, they kind of declared bankruptcy and started over, and kind of we getting screwed because bankers and lawyers. But so you go there and it'll say, in God we trust is a trust.
That's right. Because any legal entity ending with the word trust is a trust. You cannot. You
so
cannot.
It's in God we.
Yeah, it's called in God we. Exactly. Yeah.
You sons of man.
Exactly.
You know that no, they wouldn't do that. That'd be wrong.
But more importantly, Ern, it's a religion. Okay, it's a religion. Flip the dollar back over to the front, and you'll see all of these Freemason symbols. Well, there's no secret that that Freemasonry has already been exposed as being the secret religion of Satan. So they brought us all under this religion. Okay, known called Freemasonry, and so we don't even know it, but we're operating all of our lives. And I tell people the root cause of all your problems, your financial problems, is that you have been operating all of your life under the wrong kind of trust. It's called the In God We Trust. So all corporations, LLCs, and your legal person, which is a United States Trust account, all comes under the In God We Trust. But when we set up a separate trust, a non-statutory trust, okay, let's call it
define that. I see that a lot in your writings. Non-statutory trust. Okay,
right.
What's statutory? What's non-statutory?
Okay, so so those of you who don't know, the United States is not a country and a nation. You know that, right? It's a federal corporation. And it's defined in the United States Code. So the United States Code, or the U.S. Code, or commonly referred to as the USC, okay, your local state statutes, your penal codes for your states, these are all statutes and codes. This is not real law. Those are only prima facie evidence of law, okay? And this is not really truly the intent of Congress, but what they've done is they've reinterpreted the law and created these statutes. And so when we're saying statutory law, it could be your IRS law. IRS law typically will be under Title 26 of the United States Code. That's where you're going to find everything to do with the IRS. And so those are statutes. But when I say non-statutory, it means that we are not under this statutory law jurisdiction. Okay, the law that I'm under, and that the trust that we're going to set up is under is called common law, or also some people call it a natural law, constitutional law, God's law. Do no harm to others in their property. Okay, it's very important that you suffix it with "do no harm to others," because there's another common law out there that's called statutory common law, Vatican common law. We want nothing to do with that. So when we basically, if you typically read your banking agreement, it's going to say that this bank account or this trust is under the laws of the state of Arizona. So what we're doing is we're setting up the trust, that the trust is under common law right of contract, but within the state of Arizona. So jurisdiction is, in law, jurisdiction is everything, okay? So, and contract is loan loss contract. That's all you have to understand. So every one of us have the right to determine and decide under which jurisdiction we want to operate our lives. Or if you want to go and set up your own person or your own trust, okay, you can choose to bring it under statutory law, to bring it under common law. All right, and so judges.
What happens when the government chooses to not?
Well, again, Christ gave us a choice. He said, render unto Caesar, render unto God. Make your choice. Who do you want to serve? Under which God do you want to operate under? Okay? Because we, the people, are the currency.
No, I understand this, but there's a lot of, and I'm sure you've come across this, as a lot of us engaging with the man have, is that if you're going to assert something, if you're going to advocate for your position being whatever it is, and they don't like it, you're going to have to defend it. You're gonna have, because if you don't defend it, you don't got it.
Absolutely, you have to know where you stand. You have to be able to not to have them knock you out of your square. And in my own experience of life, which I can share with you in just a little bit, I have put it to the test myself many years ago. I've been at this for about 15 years. And I've gamed the system. I've dealt with the...
Okay, let's talk about that. First thing before I forget, though, Donna, what I want you to do is near the top of this, put in the link to the interview with David Webb, because this is definitely interfaces with that, and then put the link to this show on David Webb's archive, and for more of how to do trust, whatever, just put that in, because I think they cross-reference each other.
Okay.
You know, because a lot of the things that you're talking about, he was talking high finance and how, you know, your stuff became their stuff. Well, it's the same freaking thing. You know, they want, you'll own nothing because they got it all.
Well, because it's all wrapped under that all, not necessarily all caps main, but first, middle, last name is not you. Okay, you think it's you. You're operating your life on you, and that's how the scam works. Is they've got
scam.
And
Lion Texas not.
Yeah, well, look, in first grade, they look how they taught people to write their name in block letters. Why? Because in the government system, every government system, okay, they don't have your name. They have the name of a trust account. You are just, we're just dumb enough to come and say, that's me. And the name on the driver's license, John Henry Smith, yeah, that's me. No, that's not you. That's a trust dummy. And what your relationship is in respect to that trust is that you should always identify yourself as being the beneficiary of that trust. Okay? Now, we'll get into trust because I oftentimes, when I speak to an audience, I ask them, did any one of you in this room ever have a class in high school and college about trust? And I don't get any hands going up. Well, that's the most important thing that all of us should have been taught. That's the most essential. Because if you don't understand that the way that your commercial title is a trust and that you're currently operating in trust, then that's how you're being taken advantage of, because now you go and you open up a bank account in the name of John Henry Smith, and guess what, guys? John Henry Smith does not belong to you. You're just a quasi-custodian over John Henry Smith.
Okay, let me ask you this.
All right.
If I was to open a bank account, because we just left, we had, it's a Bank of whatever, Bank of Arizona, then it went Bank of America, okay? And just last year, I think it was before the turn of the 22, I think the last day, like 31st or something, the 30th, Friday, we go in, and I go, and I break with thee. And we took all our money, deposits that we're doing, into a credit union that's here, Southwest, or whatever the heck, it doesn't matter. I just want to get out of Bank of America because I know that they're going to be one of the first to freaking fold, and here it comes, So, matter of fact, we get a bunch of news on they're going down. But when they do that, they take all the goodie with them because you are this trust thing that you totally agreed when you open the bank account and you sign. It's like your iTunes agreement changes every week, And, I agree. I totally agree to whatever the heck it was. Well, when you buy a house, you just they put little stickers and arrows to sign here, and you just whipping through it, and you don't know what the heck you're doing. So it does all this kind of stuff using this verbiage. Which I've done in the past, I have questions. What the hell is this? Hey, man, if you want to do it, you got. Okay, well, this time is different. I'm like, yeah. If I were to do, a good example. In the 90s, they were doing this rights reserved UCC thing, Universal Commercial Code. I'm not in your contract or whatever. So you could either cite it or you can just write rights reserved. So on my driver's license right now, I pull it out. I mean, you can't hardly see it on the license, but on the actual application, Ernest Rights Reserved Hancock. Now there was a time in the 90s when people were doing that, and they would get civil violations, like a contract with the city for a traffic stop or ran a red light or whatever the heck, speeding or something. So you would go in and you say, I'm rights reserved. I'm not entered into a contract with the city. You can't preponderance of the evidence of a civil violation, not a criminal, because they used to be misdemeanors back until the late 80s, early 90s, they were misdemeanors. It was a criminal thing. Well, now I want a jury, and that cop lied, and, whatever. They did. The preponderance of the evidence that you violated the law was him writing you the ticket, so you're guilty, guilty, So I could see why they did this. Preponderance of the evidence is the legal standard, not beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's preponderance. The policeman is that preponderance of the evidence heavily weighted against you, and life sucks for you, you're guilty. So I understood this. It became a thing. People were doing it. The judges were dismissing them. Oh, well, they figured it out. We're done. Then the Attorney General in Arizona, Grant Woods at the time, goes and rendered a decision or an opinion that went to the Department of Motor Vehicles, which used to be headed at the time by Russell Pierce, which later became president of the Senate, Republican. Well, I remember when this was going on because I'm politically active and you're doing whatever. And what they did is they said, not that you can't do it, it's just this driver's license thing. If you anything other than signing your name but rights reserved, we don't accept the application. You're not able to opt out. We're not going to let you opt out. Mm-hmm. They started to see what was going on.
Yeah.
Then later they started letting these, remote areas in a strip center, you can get your title and registration, your driver's license done. By the time they did that, these people, they don't know any different. Yeah, whatever, man.
Yeah.
We just processed it, and nobody sent us a memo. We don't care. So people stopped doing it. They were threatened. They didn't let it get viral, that kind of thing. So then once I could go and do that again, then I renewed my driver's license again till I'm dead. However many gazillion years you get them for now. And I go in and I go, Ernest, rights reserved Hancock. Now, if I was to do this in the future, and of course there are, the caps and all this kind of stuff on my driver's license. If I was to say I am Ernest Theodore, and I'm the third, so I might say that too. Ernest Theodore, the third of the family Hancock, can I fill out interfaces with the government that way?
Yeah. So what I would do if I would renew my driver's license, I would sign my name. Okay, just put down the word capital B, lowercase y, colon in front of your signature. That creates a separation. Then sign, and then say comma beneficiary. Okay. And that's, now you can write other things like all rights reserved, UCC 1-3 or whatever, reserve your rights. Nobody can force you into slavery. Every man has the right to reserve their rights.
But we're not giving you your driver's license, boy. And you're not going to be able to, you see my point?
Yeah, no, I get
Once they start to figure it out, they're like, oh, no, you're not allowed to escape. So, but I'm pointing that out because I went through this before.
Right.
This was 25 years ago or so.
Exactly.
30 years ago. So they know that some people know.
Yep.
So then they started bringing in judges. They called them patriot judges, and usually it was some pro tem or a magistrate that was retired or something. They bring him in. And this is when you started hearing this.
Yeah.
There's no Constitution in my courtroom.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That's when that started. I was like, when the heck did that start?
I have found through my experience that when you resist the devil, he'll flee from you. Basically, what they do is they'll throw something at you, hoping that you're going to turn around with your tail between your legs. But you have got to stick with it. You have got to not take no for an answer. And if they cannot knock you out of that square, they will capitulate. It works every time.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing. To be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? you can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
The latest episode of Free Talk Live continues with Hour 2 up next after the news here at listen.freetalklive.com.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Benji Haya. A powerful earthquake in Japan's triggered a tsunami warning along the country's west coast, where huge waves have already reached the shore. Monday's quake caused homes to collapse and ripped up roads. Residents are being evacuated from affected areas. Several hospitals are without power. The tsunami alert is Japan's first since a 2011 earthquake, which left close to 20,000 people dead. From Tokyo, Chris Gilbert brings us the latest.
We have a 7.6 magnitude earthquake, and that effectively has triggered a number of tsunamis which we've seen begin to hit Japan. These have ranged from a few centimeters in height to about 1.6 meters. The enormous tsunami which hit Japan about 12 years ago was 13 to 30 meters, so these are much smaller.
No irregularities have been found yet from nuclear power plants along the Sea of Japan. Elsewhere, Ukraine says Russia launched a record number of drones over the new year as the two countries exchanged fire. Julia Chapman has the details.
Ukraine's Air Force said it shot down 87 of 90 drones launched by Russia in the early hours of January 1st. The head of the Russian-held Donetsk region said Ukraine carried out massive shelling overnight. Aerial attacks by Russia and Ukraine have intensified in recent days. Russia launched its largest ever wave of missile and drone attacks at cities across Ukraine on Friday, killing 28 people.
A Ukrainian air raid on the Russian city of Belgorod on Saturday killed 25 people. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he's ready to intensify attacks against Ukraine's military targets. In neighbouring China, leader Xi Jinping claims Taiwan will be reunified with China. His remarks, made in his annual New Year's Eve address, come just days before Taiwan's presidential election. Beijing believes the self-governing island and its 23 million citizens should be under its control. China's ramped up military pressure on the territory ahead of the vote. Taiwan's government accuses the superpower of interfering in democracy. The Israeli military says it expects the conflict in Gaza to continue throughout 2024, with troops preparing for prolonged fighting in the Strip. Some 22,000 people, mostly women and children, have been killed in Gaza since October 7th, when Hamas killed 1,200 people in Israel and kidnapped hundreds more. The war spilled out to the wider region, with Houthi rebels from Yemen attacking commercial ships in the Red Sea. The United States Navy sunk 3 boats operated by the Iranian-backed militants. The UK, too, is standing by, as Simon Gaitan reports.
Defence Secretary Grant Shapps said in a newspaper article that the UK's forces in the Red Sea are willing to take direct action against Houthi rebels, having already shot down drones targeting international shipping through the Gulf.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today remembering the utterly tremendous Tom Wilkinson, who died over the weekend at 75. He had an unparalleled range, and while most obituaries in their first paragraph mention the full Monty, in reality audiences will have their own favourite appearances that may transcend that 1997 smash. Wilkinson was born in Yorkshire in 1948, attended the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in London after spending some of his early years in Canada. His many successes included Shakespeare in Love, Belle, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. He detested interviews in which he was asked stupid questions, and 10 years ago offered this response when an inquisitor asked him which role had most removed him from his comfort zone.
Acting is my comfort zone.
Really?
Yeah, that's my area of expertise, and there's nothing I've ever done that sort of discommoded me. There's some things that are more difficult than other things, but you solve them because that's what you're meant to do. If suddenly somebody put me on the top of a horse and in the middle of the Kentucky Derby, I would think I'm out of my comfort zone now. That would be, but acting. What? It's what I do.
The disdain in that answer explains partly why Tom Wilkinson never moved to Hollywood. Nominated twice for an Oscar, the actor died at home in North London, surrounded by family. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
Our top stories again. A powerful earthquake in Japan's triggered a tsunami warning along the country's west coast, where huge waves have already reached the shore. Ukraine says Russia launched a record number of drones over the new year as the two countries exchanged fire. And the Israeli military says it expects the conflict in Gaza to continue throughout 2024, with troops preparing for prolonged fighting in the Strip. That's the latest feature story news. I'm Benji Hire in Washington.
California is reeling from Super Rainbow Percival, which left a trail of devastation along the west coast. A luminous band of destruction touched down in Santa Barbara. Percival set a record as the most powerful rainbow in U.S. history, with at least 30 confirmed fatalities and damage estimates in the billions. The vividly saturated colors seared through homes and roads, charring everything in its path. Those exposed to the rainbow's fury say they're lucky to be alive.
The sky was completely blue. All of a sudden, it's filled with brilliant hues of red and indigo.
All I can say is when I was a kid, rainbows didn't cut people in half.
Meteorologists say that Percival is just the latest in a pattern of increasingly dangerous rainbows, and that they're only growing stronger as global temperatures rise. Percival also comes on the heels of some extreme weather phenomena overseas. Authorities in the Philippines are still searching for thousands in the aftermath of mega sunset Wilma.
This is the Onion News Network.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
Welcome to Declare Your Independence on the Free Talk Live Network.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Here at Declare Your Independence, me, Ernest Hancock, on Free Talk Live Network on Genesis, and we're talking with Cobus J, theinvisibletrust.org. Theinvisibletrust.org. I'm learning a lot, and I'm sure you are too.
I have found from my experience that when you resist the devil, he'll flee from you. Basically, what they do is they'll throw something at you, hoping that you're going to turn around with your tail between your legs. But you have got to stick with it. You have got to not take no for an answer. And if they cannot knock you out of that square, they will capitulate. It works every time. And well,
I just want them to say it.
Yeah, exactly.
Make them say it.
Yeah,
because I just need to know. Are we at the point that it doesn't matter anymore? Right. And I do that with a lot. One of my co-hosts, we do a show regularly, and he'll bring up a lot of stuff. Government's this, that, and doing things, and I go, doesn't matter. I don't care. And that just sends him into, you don't care. Yeah. It doesn't matter. I go, because it doesn't matter to them. They don't care. So I don't care. I'm trying to position myself in such a way that I can be sure that I'm on good moral ground. I'm on, good legal ground. Mm-hmm. I have, precedent, and that, of course, they're going to push back, and it's going to be some Soros-funded district attorney that's going to, I'm going to get him.
See, Ernie, one thing a lot of people lose sight of is that I'm going to pick up my cell phone. Let's give the cell phone a name. Let's call it John Henry Smith, okay? And so this is John Henry Smith right here, and then I come along and I say, I'm John Henry Smith. So that means I'm it. I remember that name of yours is a trust. But now let's back up and because a lot of people don't know what a trust is, and I should have mentioned this in the beginning. Firstly, what is the purpose of a trust? The purpose of a trust is to hold and to protect assets. A trust is also a contract. It's a covenant, okay? And that's really what it is. It's that simple. Now, if you're going to visualize what a trust is, what I want you guys to do is to draw a triangle, okay? Draw a triangle. And at the very top of the triangle, there's only three parties to this trust. The very top is what you call the grantor, or sometimes referred to as the settler. And the grantor is the creator of the trust. G for God, the creator, the grantor. On the left side of the triangle, you have T for trustee, and the trustee is typically appointed by the grantor to administer the trust for the benefit of who? Of the beneficiary or beneficiaries. So on the right side of the triangle is your beneficiaries. And then in the middle of your trust is the assets or the property or the cars or the homes or the money assets that the trust is holding. Now remember that a trust is also a person. And only I just want to let you know, don't ever call me a person. I'm a man, okay? Don't ever call me person, all right?
Okay, I'm out of arm's reach.
It's like putting the N-word on me. It's like I'm not a person.
Okay, now,
all right.
What is a trust? Okay, what is a trust? Can a trust be, your phone? I mean, what isn't a trust? What is and isn't a trust?
A trust is a contract. It's just a legal contract.
Okay,
it's like let's say you and I enter into a bartering relationship. I'm going to put a roof on your house, and you're going to fix my computer. So you and I have a private agreement. That's a trust. Okay, it's a contract. It's a covenant. That's really what it is.
Contract. I can see trust is referred to as contract.
Let me give you an example of what happened in pre-1933. All births and marriages were recorded in the family Bible. And why was that? Because that signified that we're bringing this relationship under a trust covenant with God, with the Bible as a trust indenture. Okay.
Wait. The Bible as a trust indenture.
Right.
Define that. What do you say? The reason I bring this up, okay, before you say that, hold on to that description, because this is how it applied to us. There were we of course. Libertarian activists, so of course we know a lot of people that identify as libertarian. When you get into political stuff, well, they're Libertarian Party guys, they're activists. A lot of times they just want to be left alone, and that is how they're doing it. There was a young family that I remember that were atheists, but they did not want to make their children the state's children. They definitely will. Heck no, we're not doing that. So what did they do? They bought a Bible. They get a Bible, atheists with Bibles. Okay?
Yeah.
They get the Bible and they recorded the home births of their children in that Bible.
Okay.
Then they use that as documentation to do whatever. And then it gets more and more difficult as time goes on. But that's why they did that, because the birth is recognized by the state of Arizona at the time as being in a Bible.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, very good question. See, let me use an example. Let's draw from the Lord's Prayer. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. This is my personal belief, that our mandate from God is not to be run and controlled by another man or their corporations or their institutions, but that all of us came into this world as sovereign people, right? So you're basically, when you're setting up a trust or recording that, you're establishing your own kingdom, but we're just deciding we're going to bring this kingdom under God's kingdom. And so you're creating a contract. You're creating a covenant. Okay. A lot of Christians today make a big thing on the profession side, but they've lost sight of the actual physical written contract. Okay. And so that when you record that birth and marriage in the family Bible, then of course there's going to be two witnesses that's going to sign it and witness that. And so this is a document that is recorded. And it actually speaks volumes of the jurisdiction that we choose. Everyone can choose their own God or choose under which kingdom you want to be. So that signifies that we're bringing this relationship under God, and we're under God. We're under this covenant. Okay, we're under this bubble of protection. And
so why am I interfacing with the government at all? For what?
Well,
see, a lot of people, they make the claim that don't take any benefits from government.
No.
As soon as you take a benefit from them, then you're under the umbrella of something.
Again, you have to understand that everything pertaining to your commercial title is a trust action. So you're thinking that the we got the world of the living right here, and we got the world of the dead. Dead corporations, the government, your commercial title is a dead entity, okay? And so if your name is not written in the government system. It's the trust account that is. All that happened is that you just came along and assumed that that's you, and you call yourself John Henry Smith. Okay, I would never tell a judge, I'm John. You can call me John and only John. Well, what's your last name? Well, he doesn't need to know the last name. I don't have a last name. Okay, so that's how they got us. It's that first, middle, and last name trust. That
wait a minute. I understand.
But hold on. You are identifying yourself to that title, to that trust.
What if I want that title? What if I like my name?
Well, it's well.
I'm not allowed to call myself.
But what I'm saying is your name is Ernie. Okay. Did your mother ever call you by your first, middle, and last name? No, she didn't. She called you by your first name.
Trouble.
Well, maybe if you got in trouble, all right. Okay. But what I want you to understand is that name. Okay. Let's take, for example, Osama bin Laden. Bin means of the family of. Okay. So they're still doing it right in those parts of the world.
Ernest Ben Hancock.
Okay.
I'm not anymore.
All right, so my name is John, and I'm of the clan of, or the title, the family of, or the tribe of. Okay, and we have gotten away from that. And so what we have done is we've come to accept these fictional labels. And the moment you say that you are this fiction, then they got you. And that's why it's very important that you always refer to that name, that title, as you being the beneficiary, because what you want to do is you want to define your relationship in respect to it.
No, I understand. Wharf of Caleb, family of Moab, whatever the heck.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. My thing is that
when you and I interact with each other, that's fine. We can call each other.
No,
John
I understand. My thing is that they're always taking. It's they. When I say they, it has a specific meaning to me. A lot of people, when I first started doing radio in 2003, they go, they? Who are they, you tinfoil hat conspiracist, whatever? I go, good question. I'll tell you who they are. You want to know who they are? I'll tell you who they are. Okay. There are those that just want to be left alone and those that just won't leave them alone.
Right.
That's who they, them, those are. I call them T3. They, them, those that won't leave me alone, okay? Which is what we're trying to accomplish here. Right. So my thing is, one of the things is not leave me alone. Oh, you're not allowed to say your name that way. That's my name. Kiss my butt. But I understand your point is that when you agree to this is you, no, that's not me. Ernest Theodore, the third of the family of the clan of Hancock or whatever,
Well, let me tell you how I interact with the courts. Well, first of all, go and download this form application for Social Security card. It's called the SS, I can't remember, it's the SS-4, SS-5, but it's on Google. Just download the form, okay? And then what I want you to do is, and the first item number one is the first, middle, and last name, okay? And then if you go down to box number 18, it asks this question: what is your relationship to the person in line 1? Now, why would they ask such a question? Well, I just told you that I'm John Henry Smith, so why are you asking me now what is my relationship to the person in line 1? Well, what is a person? That's why we got to look up the definition of words, guys. A person is not a man and a woman. It's a corporation. It's a fiction. It's a trust. Okay?
What would you say?
So that what they're really asking you is, what is your relationship to the trust in line 1?
No, I understand. And what is the response?
And then right below that, there's a multiple choice question box, and one of the boxes is called self. The moment you check the self box, you're admitting, I am the trust, I am the artificial construct, I am the fiction, I am the slave, I am the government property.
Now, I've had a lot, prominent, intelligent people with families that have done this very thing to rescind that for their children. They go, look, I gave them a Social Security number when they were, not. Okay, this is a good example for that.
I'm going to show you how easy it is to rescind
I want to make this point so that, we get in the same ballpark here. When we first started having children in the mid-late 80s, okay, so from I don't know, I'm going to get in trouble here, but, 86 to, 90, around in there, we had our 4 children. Well, you would fill out your income tax and how many dependents did you have. Okay, I fill it out. I didn't get my Social Security number until my 16th birthday. I went down, got a job, and you get a job, you got a Social Security number? Yeah, absolutely, man. I did it. Okay, they're not teaching me in 5th grade, that I should or shouldn't, whatever. I don't know this stuff. So I get a Social Security number. Well, and I filled out their thing. Probably had it with their hiring packet or whatever, and they got it right there, man. We're going to take care of business for you. So and it was McDonald's. I remember 16th birthday, they were building McDonald's, and it was at 35th Avenue in Peoria, and next to Metro Center, Phoenix, Arizona. Woohoo! I'm part of the man. I made was it $2.89 an hour, man, minimum wage. Kick ass. All right.
Okay.
So I go down. I do that. My parents they claim me as the dependent. They got off on their taxes or whatever. It didn't matter to them. They felt, I got this many. They'll say I don't. So then when we do our children, we never got them a Social Security card. I don't give a crap. Why would I, do that? Then, about the mid-'90s, the IRS comes out and they say, oh, I'm sorry. You got to get a Social Security number for your kids if you're going to claim them as a dependent. Then I have a friend of mine. He's like, no, I'm not doing it. He goes to, a lawyer friend of ours, and they challenge it, and IRS back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Bottom line, you owe us all this your money that we say that you claim them as a dependent when you don't have a Social Security number for them, and you're refusing to get one for them, so fork over the cash.
Well,
then he has to make a decision.
Well, here's the thing: is you have to understand it's not your Social Security number; it's the trust that belongs to
Doesn't
the trust.
matter. They got gun right here says so.
No, but what I'm saying is, get the Social Security number for your children. Okay, it belongs to the trust. My point that I wanted to make is this.
Well, on that line, if that's the solution, then I go, no, what's your relationship to them? I don't have one.
Okay, no,
they're done.
If you look on the form, there's a multiple choice boxes. The first box that says self. Now, logically, people are going to go, what's your relationship to the person in line 1? Okay, you're going to go, you check self. Well, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to check self. Right. But guess what? There's another box. That box is other. And underneath other, there's a line. You know what you want to write on that line?
I want to know.
Okay.
Everybody, wait. Everybody get a pen and paper.
Yeah,
get ready. Here's the money shot. When you're doing the Social Security, get it, don't get it, whatever. But they've created this trust for you.
Yes.
They're going to get you to agree to it. And here's your opportunity I vote no. Okay?
Guys, the trust is really your shield in commerce. It's really your I also look at upon your vessel that the government gave you to navigate in their seas of commerce. That's a beautiful system that they set up, but they didn't show us how to use the system, so they use it against us. But if you understand that it's a trust, okay, then all you have to do is to say, wait a second, I'm not this trust. You change your relationship in respect to the trust. Again, this is why I at everybody first draw a triangle when you visualize what a trust looks like. At the very top is grantor, left is trustee, and then to the right is beneficiary. What do you want to be in respect to that trust? I want to be the beneficiary. I didn't set up that trust, okay? And
I'm not doing your work for you. I'm not the trustee. You go find somebody else to do it.
And so you're always. That's why you're going to put on that line. You're going to write down beneficiary, and then when you sign your signature and you say comma beneficiary. Now you have evidence that I'm the beneficiary to this trust. Now guess what, guys? Did you know, according to trust law, that the beneficiary can never be held liable for the debt obligations of a trust? Did you know that a beneficiary can never be charged? Do you know that they never charge you, the living man? They always charge a trust account. And you just dumb enough have identified yourself with John Henry Smith. They say it's me. And therefore, everybody that's in jail today have pledged to be the surety for someone or something else, that trust that the government created. All you got to do is change your relationship in respect to it. And I have proven, not for myself only, but I've helped many people with simple traffic tickets. And when they go into court, they ask the judges one question. Is there a trust being administered here today in the name of John Henry Smith? Well, one guy, the judge just said, dismiss immediately. Why? Because you woke up to the fact, and they realize that you woke up that this is a trust, because all of these courts, these judges are committing high treason against the American people. They're unlawfully converting you into a person, and then they're trafficking your person.
Okay, let me make some observations and comments here.
Okay.
To give validity to what you're talking about. I just did a show with a guy that is just happens to be, now he kind of fell into it, the Libertarian Party chairman of the state of Hawaii. And he ran into some of these situations. He's making some claim. He's going in, and that's a long story, doesn't matter. The way he worded it, he didn't realize that he was challenging in the verbiage that he had a lot of the stuff that you're talking about. And in Hawaii, they were specifically attuned to this, knew, not freaking out, because Hawaii has a real legitimate claim to sovereignty because the United States of America just stole it from the royalty there. And it's pretty clear. But if you start making some of these kinds of arguments, whoa, he's a sovereign secession Hawaii guy. Heck no, man, we don't want to go away and kind of be done. So I can see when they know, and they think you're setting them up, and he didn't understand. He's like, what the crap? I was talking about something else. Then he found out later why they were so concerned. Mm-hmm. Then we have in New Hampshire, I don't know if you've heard of it. I don't know, maybe our friend in Colorado mentioned it to you, but it's called the Free State Project. Just a bunch of libertarians moved to New Hampshire and are challenging a lot of stuff. Well, there's a guy named Chris Gronsky there that a lot of people, they don't want to be under paying federal income taxes. Okay, so this is what they did. There was a case. It was a dentist named the Browns or something. Blah, blah, blah. There's a standoff, went back and forth, ouch, quit it. That he did a lot of this and was like, nope, I'm not paying. I'm not under your thing. I'm a trust of whatever. So it goes through court, back and forth. He has a strong case, except it gets into the court and they go, is this your passport? Yep. What's the question on that passport? Are you a U.S. citizen? Okay. And you're either going to jail for perjury or you're, under our jurisdiction of.
Yeah.
So what happened, a lot of these guys going, so they don't get let me go ahead and finish. They don't get a passport, so then they can't go to their friend's wedding in Canada or go to, a festival in Mexico or whatever. They, feeling, damn it, the man's got you. Or they go and they fill it out, but they go and they file, which is legal, and they have the documentation in this package that the Secretary of State of the United States of America knows, had to admit that, you can, whatever, and fill out, however you want. So what they do is they do an addendum or an amendment to the filing of your passport. Okay, we fill out the passport, they'll do what you're talking about, fill it out, and then they do an addendum saying, and be very specific, I am not a citizen of the United States of America. I am a resident in the state of, or however they verb it.
Or national. I'm just an American national.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
But what they're not doing is what you're talking about, is they're not giving them a freebie.
Yeah.
Because it was used against the guy, he was doing all this stuff right, but they look for that one document to where you said, yes, and boss, I be a U.S. citizen. Since I have a United States passport and probably 50 gazillion other documents, that I should maybe go through this process of saying, and this is my addendum per whatever, and I know the guy helped me do it, and say, I am not under the jurisdiction of whatever, FYI. Now you got that document that you can use later when they try to use it against you.
Well, this is how I would have answered that, because I many years ago, I traveled from San Diego to Arizona, and on the border there's a lot of checkpoints and stop points, and immigration stop points. And this one guy asked me, he said, are you a U.S. citizen? And I kind of smiled at him. And I said, it depends on how you define United States. Are you referring to the continental landmass America, or are you referring to the United States corporation? Because it's impossible for a living man to be a corporation. To be a citizen of a dead corporation. So you always flip.
Do you ever say, I could care less, when you really mean the opposite? You mean to say, I couldn't care less. It's a common mistake. You are judged by how you speak, especially if you're looking for work, with so many more applicants than openings now. But even if you're not, avoiding common misstatements will help you make the most of the dozens of conversations and transactions that crowd your daily routine. So whatever you say, don't say whatever as a single word sentence. It's the most annoying expression in the American English language, according to a recent poll. And avoid cliches like the plague. Just kidding. But seriously, at the end of the day, you'll want to avoid this scenario, sounding like everyone else. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Benji Haya. A powerful earthquake in Japan's triggered a tsunami warning along the country's west coast, where huge waves have already reached the shore. Monday's quake caused homes to collapse and ripped up roads. Residents are being evacuated from affected areas. Several hospitals are without power. The tsunami alert is Japan's first since a 2011 earthquake, which left close to 20,000 people dead. From Tokyo, Chris Gilbert brings us the latest.
We have a 7.6 magnitude earthquake, and that effectively has triggered a number of tsunamis which we've seen begin to hit Japan. These have ranged from a few centimeters in height to about 1.6 meters. The enormous tsunami which hit Japan about 12 years ago was 13 to 30 meters, so these are much smaller.
No irregularities have been found yet from nuclear power plants along the Sea of Japan. Elsewhere, Ukraine says Russia launched a record number of drones over the new year as the two countries exchanged fire. Julia Chapman has the details.
Ukraine's Air Force said it shot down 87 of 90 drones launched by Russia in the early hours of January 1st. The head of the Russian-held Donetsk region said Ukraine carried out massive shelling overnight. Aerial attacks by Russia and Ukraine have intensified in recent days. Russia launched its largest ever wave of missile and drone attacks at cities across Ukraine on Friday, killing 28 people.
A Ukrainian air raid on the Russian city of Belgorod on Saturday killed 25 people. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he's ready to intensify attacks against Ukraine's military targets. In neighbouring China, leader Xi Jinping claims Taiwan will be reunified with China. His remarks, made in his annual New Year's Eve address, come just days before Taiwan's presidential election. Beijing believes the self-governing island and its 23 million citizens should be under its control. China's ramped up military pressure on the territory ahead of the vote. Taiwan's government accuses the superpower of interfering in democracy. The Israeli military says it expects the conflict in Gaza to continue throughout 2024, with troops preparing for prolonged fighting in the Strip. Some 22,000 people, mostly women and children, have been killed in Gaza since October 7th, when Hamas killed 1,200 people in Israel and kidnapped hundreds more. The war spilled out to the wider region, with Houthi rebels from Yemen attacking commercial ships in the Red Sea. The United States Navy sunk 3 boats operated by the Iranian-backed militants. The UK too is standing by, as Simon Gaitan reports.
Defence Secretary Grant Shapps said in a newspaper article that the UK's forces in the Red Sea are willing to take direct action against Houthi rebels, having already shot down drones targeting international shipping through the Gulf.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
Freedom's the answer. What's the question? You're listening to Ernest Hancock.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved beholden to nothing more than distributors of government propaganda. But we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides an understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears is already matured. Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, on the Free Talk Live Network. On Genesis, we're talking to Cobus J, theinvisibletrust.org, theinvisibletrust.org. Lots of great information on how you can maintain your privacy, your wealth, and your leave me aloneism. Let's continue listening in my conversation with Cobus J, theinvisibletrust.org.
Flip their questions into a question. So make them tell you, you define the United States citizen, because remember, guys, U.S. citizen is property of the United States, and if you identify yourself as a U.S. citizen, which is a 14th Amendment slave, exactly, then they got you, okay? And that's why you flip it back to them and saying, well, depends on how you define United States citizen. Are you talking about America, the continent, the land mass, the land which I was born on, or are you referring to the United States Federal Corporation?
You know, this is how I handled it, because it started I could see, I was going to Yuma, doing speaking events and stuff like that, and you always go through those, Constitution doesn't apply within 100 miles of the border kind of crap, that they do.
Well, and incidentally, all of them have taken an oath to the Constitution, so you can actually very quickly ask them the question, well, excuse me, any law enforcement, judge, you name it, okay? Including attorneys. Excuse me, I just got a question. Have you taken an oath to the Constitution, uphold the Constitution, yes or no? Well, if they say no, well, guess what? You're an imposter. You have no right to have any jurisdiction over this matter anyway. But if they say yes, which they have to, then you can say, well, I will now hold you to that oath. You see, that's the problem, is that we don't hold our public officials to their oath.
I understand, but doing it on the side of the road at 2 in the morning doesn't work out. But because we've been through this. I'm a libertarian activist. I got 15 gazillion stories and shows for you, this exact kind of thing. Pastors getting beat up all the heck because they wouldn't play, whatever. But I went through this. It was 08, 9, 10, around in there. I was coming back, and I took my video camera and I put it on the dash. And I'm dressed nice, and my driving. I got my long sleeve button-up shirt and tie on. I'm being I'm about as white as you can get. Irish background kind of thing. So I'm sitting there in Scottish. They definitely want my DNA and just take me out, man. It's a little bit too much William Wallace here. So what happens is I go to the checkpoint. As I'm going up, I said, they're going to ask me if I'm a U.S. citizen. Why would they do that? What if, yes, no, if I'm a bad guy from, freaking Europe and I just say yes, how the hell do they know? I mean, right. What's the purpose of that? Mm-hmm. It's to get some kind of jurisdiction over you. Yeah, exactly. Kind of, get you trained right, get you to TSA, make sure they can feel you up. I mean, that kind of, because we always opt out. So I'm going, I go, it seems like a legal question, and I don't remember being born, okay. So when I get there, and they go, you U.S. citizen, I go, I was born in Florida. What? I was born in a hospital in Dade City, Florida, yeah. And he goes, and he's like, oh, I don't know, it sounds like a legal, go, get
okay, yeah.
So every time I do that, I go, I was born in, a hospital in Florida. Go get you already feel it coming,
Yeah.
Or, I've yet to get it, but sooner or later somebody's going to be a butthead.
Yeah.
They're going to want to explain it to me. And when they do, I'm just be calm, cool, collected. But you're going to sit on the side of the road for a little while. You're going to have to put up with it. But a lot of my lawsuits were over abuse of my rights. To make you do that, to sit there. I got 50 gazillion stories of myself and many others that have gone through this process, but they make you go through the process because, damn it, you are not allowed to whether I took my oath or not, and it doesn't matter, and freaking I don't remember, and whatever I signed or did, and kind of, I got a gun, So I just want to make sure that while you're back in South Africa, okay, and I go through this and I'm pressing this, I don't mind being challenged, but I do mind being wrong, okay?
Well, I will tell you this, okay? I believe that one of the first, see, I myself have also dealt with the corruption by the police, by the judge. I many times faced these black robe devils. My person, when I say my person, I never refer to me because they never do these things to you. All action pertaining to your full name is a trust action. And once we understand that, okay, then everything changes. It's a game changer. I am the beneficiary in relation to that trust. So if they ask you, is this your name? No, it's a trust name. I just happen to be the beneficiary. I'm the holder of this passport. I'm the holder of this driver's license. But if I pin that driver's license up on a tree, does that mean that tree is John Henry Smith? No, it's not. In fact, if you look at the back of your Social Security card and your driver's license, it tells you if this item is lost, to return it to to the DMV or to the Social Security Administration. So it's not your it's not your Social Security number, okay?
Slave card.
You're just the holder of it, because once you understand that you can benefit. The government gave you this vessel to navigate in their seas of commerce, and you're just the operator of this vessel. Okay.
So what's your advocacy that we all understand this, start to actually, it just becomes common knowledge? You're going to make them say it until everybody goes, yeah, they're just lying sacks of snot. I mean, what is the goal?
Well, firstly, everything that is being done to us is to try to control us, tax us, and levy us. And the way they do that is by getting you to identify yourself with this artificial construct, this name, this title that they created.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
And because you have not properly separated yourself from that, or at least, when I say separate, I'm not talking about, no, I don't want a driver's license, I don't want a social. No, that's a wrong approach. All you got to do is to change your relationship in respect to it. And this is why when you download this SS4, SS5 form from the Social Security Administration, I encourage everybody to do this. Okay, fill your first, middle, and last name in on box 18. Don't say self, but write down other and say beneficiary. Then take this into a local Social Security Administration office and just say, hey, I'm just here to apply for your Social Security card. And I lost mine, and then print out 2 copies. And
I'm going to pull it up. In the mobile unit, it's going to be difficult. I don't want to mess it up and we lose the show. We're out in the middle doing Starlink in the mountains. I just let everybody know. Fortunately, we had Starlink. We wouldn't have been able to do this show. But, Donna, go get my computer, will you please? And the mouse, my computer. And because I want to pull this form up because I'm wondering if the audience, if they're really interested in this, or before I go, hanging on by your fingernails, you don't go waving your arms around.
It's either.
So let me ask this question. I want to know if I need to amend, which is one of the processes that some of these other guys do, that I can add an addendum, an amendment, something to this that I can go, look, man, I was 16 when I did this. I was even underage then. I wish to amend at 62.
Because what you're doing is you're just making a claim. That's it. And there's multiple ways in which you can express that or make that claim known. One of them is the Social Security Administration form. It's an application for a Social Security card. I think it's either the SS-4 or the SS-5. But Google it and you'll find the form there. Okay, and so when you're expressing that, first of all, I know that this is a trust. This is not me. Okay. And all you got to do now is change your relationship in respect to that trust. So instead of saying, I am the trust, I am the trust. No, wait a second. I'm the beneficiary. Because, guys, remember, as the beneficiary, trust law is very clear. And I asked a judge this one time, and I said to him, Judge, you're schooled at law. Don't you know? And I told him that when he asked who I am, I said, I am John Henry, the beneficiary of John Henry Smith with an interest in this matter. And he wanted me to try to plead. I said, no, it's against my religion to plead. I only plead to my Father in heaven. But I said to him, there's a charge against against John Henry Smith. Okay, I said, you're a judge, you're an attorney, you're schooled at law. Don't you know that the beneficiary can never be held liable for the debt obligations of a trust? Well, guess what? He immediately dismissed the matter because he's the trustee in that case. Okay, all of our public officials or anybody that has your Social Security number, such as public utility companies, credit, they are all indentured trustees to this trust. And a judge.
Which trust? Yours?
That's Sestake Trust. Yeah, your all caps name. Your first, middle, last, the name on your birth certificate is.
So they want to make you the trustee. But they're the trustee when you claim beneficiary.
Because they want.
When you do your trust,
No, they want you to identify yourself as the trust. Because the moment you say, I am John Henry Smith, well, that is the name of a trust. And you have never come forth and made a claim and said, wait a second, I'm not that trust. I'm the beneficiary of that trust. That's why when I sign my driver's license, I sign after my signature, say, beneficiary. Now, if I were to stand in front of a judge, I can say, hey, take a look at the driver's license. Who do you see? What is the title signed after that? Well, there you go. So I demand that you dismiss this case because I'm the beneficiary, and you, the trustee of this trust, have the responsibility and the duty to take care of this matter, to settle this matter. And all I can tell you is that it works. It really does work if you understand your position and your relationship to that trust, okay, that you're not it. I'm not John Henry Smith. No, I'm John Henry, but I'm the beneficiary for that name. You can really, avoid having to pay these taxes, these liens, these levies, these citations, okay?
Because it's called an SS5.
It's an SS5, correct.
Okay,
Thank you.
Application for a Social Security card.
Go down to box number 18.
I'm trying to find the number.
Yeah,
read.
It's
It's
the last page. No, it's the last page.
All right, last page. 18. Your relationship to the person in item 1 is self, natural or adoptive parent, legal guardian, other. Other. Beneficiary.
See, they always give you a choice, okay? And
see, that's one thing that I found out when they did the UCC code thing when we had these kind of conversations years ago, is that it's not legal if they don't give you an opt-out. There's some kind, if it's a contract, to enter into a contract, the option, there always has to be an option of no. If it's not no, then you're just a freaking slave, and no, you're a willing slave.
Yeah.
You're a tricked slave. We got another one. Ding! I mean, another one for the front seat in hell. So I'm just, I understand, your point. Well, let's go ahead. I want to look and see in their description if they got, something for 18.
Now remember, guys, go look up the word person, and it'll tell you in the legal dictionaries that it's the person. A person is a trust. So they're asking you, what is your relationship to the trust in line 1?
Okay, whoa. Here's a good one for you. You'll like this. Donna, can you hear me? Okay, go ahead. I'm going to send you a link. Put this in, with the show here. I want this to be part of the show. So that is a Social Security Administration government form of blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's the form that you would use to apply for a Social Security card. Now remember, guys, you can apply for up to 12 cards in your lifetime. Okay, it's all going to be the same Social Security number. The number on the back will be different.
Well, what happens when you do 13? They shoot you.
Oh, their system won't allow you. But
whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what's in there. It goes. All right, 1, fill out this, 2, this, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's got a lot. But 17, who can sign this application? All right, line 18. There's no line 18 explanation. You don't get one.
Interesting. No explanation for line 18. Yeah.
We forgot that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm going, because I'm looking at this, and I'm like, okay, well, what do they say 18 is? They don't. Right. Oh, you SOBs. Does this surprise anybody?
Yeah.
I mean, not my
audience. So here's what you do. Fill the form out, okay? And make 2 copies of it. Sign both copies. When you go to set up an appointment or just go to the local Social Security Administration office, the lines are not usually very long. Go out there, go give it to them. Just say, hey, I'm just here to apply for another card. I lost my card. And then right below, there's a big box, a box right below box number 18. where it says evidence submitted. In the evidence submitted, you're going to ask the clerk, can you do me a favor? Would you please put your date and time receipt stamp on there for me? I'm just a good record keeper. My mother always taught me to keep good records. And would you mind just, put your date and time receipt stamp there? You give them a copy, and your copy, you just ask them to do that. I just want to have it for my records. Well, there you go.
Do not write below this line for SSA use only, of which they are the Social Security Administration.
So you want
would you timestamp this?
Yeah. So they will timestamp it. Some clerks actually sign it as well. But what you do is you get an acknowledgement. Now, guys, in law, acknowledgement is an agreement. Okay? And so you have got the Social Security Administration to agree now that you are the beneficiary of that trust.
Oh, this is something simple. I can do this.
Yeah.
This is what's unique.
And you know what else you can do? You can take that SS5 with the stamp in it to a judge and show the judge the Social Security Administration recognized me as the beneficiary right here. Now, Judge, you know trust law. Trust law is very clear that the beneficiary can never be held liable to pay for the debt obligations of a trust because everything they're doing is administration of a trust.
All right.
You get it?
Yeah, no, I get it. Now, the thing is what gives me confidence in this and for the audience is that I've gone through this before when they tried to do jurisdiction or you agreed to be their slave and they're going to put you under civil violation, like you signed a homeowner association.
When you say you or refer to the trust, it's never to do with you. See, there is no law that exists on any statutory law that regulates a man and a woman. Did you know that? All law regulates a person, not a man. I was pulled over by a motorcycle cop in California one time, and I asked the cop, I said, well, what law did I break? He said, well, you violated California Penal Code, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I don't believe you. Go show it to me. He goes back to his motorcycle. He comes back, and then he starts reading off and says that any person that shall... I said, stop. I said, did you say person or did you say man? I said, I'm not a person. Call your supervisor. Okay? And the supervisor comes on, and of course, they don't want to deal with it, and then they let you go. Because, see, that's what they have jurisdiction over is a person, not a man and a woman.
Which is the trust.
And because you identify yourself with this person right here, known as John Henry Smith, you said it's you. Well, that's how they gain jurisdiction over you.
Okay, let me go ahead and make this point. When you're dealing on the, trying to argue constitutional law with a law enforcement guy that's got a gun at 2 o'clock in the morning on the side of the highway, probably not the time, okay? Now, you can assert whatever you want, and fortunately they have body cameras now.
Then just sign as the beneficiary. Sign the ticket as beneficiary, and then you have a remedy. There you go.
Yep. There's beneficiary of whatever. So I could put...
Just sign and say, comma, beneficiary after your signature.
Do I have to say beneficiary of anything?
No. You just say, sign and say, comma, beneficiary. Because everything pertaining to that name is a trust action. And when you clearly...
Because when they took your driver's license or they look up your name and they got it on the ticket...
it's the trust name. Okay, it's not your name.
I'm beneficiary.
You're the beneficiary.
So this is... the reason I'm willing to do this part is because I've seen a lot of other things that reference this. You're not the... are you a sovereign citizen? Well, oh, maybe I am. I'm not your property. I mean, I know that, okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll talk about the word citizen too. We need to, kind of define that. But when you have a child that you've done this, you put them into the system, you didn't know. I remember. Okay, I want to make this point. In the late 90s, there was a letter that was written from a grandmother to her when she wrote it, a toddler granddaughter. When she had her daughter that had her granddaughter, she refused to get a Social Security number for that child. Mm-hmm. Well, her daughter grew up really resentful of that because there were so many things that she couldn't do. I couldn't get a job. I couldn't this. I couldn't that. I couldn't something. Yeah. And whatever is my crazy freaking antisocial mom wouldn't get me a Social Security number, and I break with thee. I break with thee. You don't get to see my daughter and not your granddaughter and go away. Mm-hmm. Okay. she wrote this letter, and it was an author that was, kind of along these lines, Claire Wolfe, that wrote a, 101 Things to Do Till the Revolution, or how, just different stuff, kind of not necessarily anti-government, but advocating, freedom of the individual kind of thing. When she circulated this on the internet and email before you had Facebook and MySpace and all that kind of stuff, it was email groups. It was people that back when the internet used to be fun, when you actually could learn something, where there weren't trolls and all this kind of crap, getting paid by the man to be a first rule, don't be a dick. But anyway, so what happened was this letter she wrote to her granddaughter, put her name, the granddaughter's name, and the title, so that someday she may find it on the internet, and then posted it a bunch of different places in forums and so on. So, cool idea. Well, Claire came across this and shared it with a bunch of us, which we kind of posted and put it around, because this is what she said. She goes to her granddaughter that she never got to see, and she says, and I think she had cancer, or she was near dying or something, and she goes, the reason I never did that is because I knew that a rancher always brands his cattle. And he goes, I was not willing to brand my daughter.
Well, if people understand, okay, that they're not branding you, the man, it's the trust. I believe that your all capital letter name, that first, middle, last name, is the mark of the beast, okay? The problem is you've accepted the mark of the beast. You said it's you, dummy. It's not you. You just have to define yourself and say, wait a second, this is a trust. I'm the beneficiary of this trust.
So this is a really easy way of going, fine, you want the number, don't care because I'm the beneficiary.
Exactly.
I'm not that person.
Because
I'm not that.
The government, that all caps name is three things. It's firstly, it's a vessel. It's a United States vessel. It's also a transmitting utility. Well, I won't get.
So when they say vessels, then we're going to get into Admiralty and fringe on.
Yeah, it's a commercial vessel. It's a fictitious vessel, but and the third thing, more importantly, is
that's how they look at it.
Exactly,
as a vessel, just like they would a ship.
And they gave you this vessel to be used for your benefit. Now, if you're going to sink the vessel, the sharks are going to get you. You're going to have to swim, and maybe you're going to drown. So use the vessel for your benefit. Okay,
grab the beneficiary of it anyway.
Grab all the benefits you can. Go get credit for that entity. Okay. More importantly, it's a trust.
Okay. Here's another one. Here's another one for you.
Okay.
All right. We haven't even got to the freaking land, but here we have as a vessel.
Yeah.
I'm 62. At 62. Can I get my Social Security benefits? Yes.
Absolutely.
I can start going through that.
Grab the benefits.
Okay. Let me get there.
Yeah.
But if I wait, it's more, and I'm going, I don't trust them to be around. I'd be shocked if I'm shocked that I made it to 62. I could get any benefit. It's still there. Of course, you can buy a loaf of bread with you $1 million. But, I'm like, didn't anticipate it was going to make it this long. So now I could get the benefits. But then as soon as you look at I go, if I get it now, I think, wow, I would actually get some benefit now. I could just have it do a bank deduction that goes to some, a friend of mine that has a precious metal broker, and I just get, convert it to silver every month, and I win. Ha, 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 ha. Okay? So I'm just like, heck yeah. I didn't spend 5 minutes on it looking at all that. I ain't filling out this crap. This is, agree, I totally agree, I agree.
Yeah.
But if part of the first things that I do is this, I wish to amend and change and stamp of when I first filled this out, I was 16. I wasn't even of age.
What it is ain't exactly clear.
Free Talk Live.
How can you be a good human being by putting someone in a cage who has not ever hurt another person?
Are we a country of laws or not?
No, we're not.
We're not.
No,
okay.
you're not. Did Charlie Rangel go to prison for fudging his tax returns? Have you ever seen a police officer pull over another police officer for rolling through a stoplight? No, we are not a country of laws.
But Charlie Rangel and all that other stuff, okay, they got out of it. Okay, that's true. But me, you, everybody else, everybody that I'm at the stoplight with, We're stopping at the stoplight because it's a law to stop at the stoplight.
Yes, the serfs have to obey the law. I agree with you. In a country of laws, every human being has to obey the laws. We are in a class-based system, and you are the lowest portion, unless you're a cop who hasn't mentioned it yet.
You have never been outside this country, have you?
I have been to 24 countries.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern at freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Free Talk Live continues with Hour 3 up next after the news here at listen.freetalklive.com.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Benji Haya. A powerful earthquake in Japan's triggered a tsunami warning along the country's west coast, where huge waves have already reached the shore. Monday's quake caused homes to collapse and ripped up roads. Residents are being evacuated from affected areas. Several hospitals are without power. The tsunami alert is Japan's first since a 2011 earthquake, which left close to 20,000 people dead. From Tokyo, Chris Gilbert brings us the latest.
We have a 7.6 magnitude earthquake, and that effectively has triggered a number of tsunamis which we've seen begin to hit Japan. These have ranged from a few centimeters in height to about 1.6 meters. The enormous tsunami which hit Japan about 12 years ago was 13 to 30 meters, so these are much smaller.
No irregularities have been found yet from nuclear power plants along the Sea of Japan. Elsewhere, Ukraine says Russia launched a record number of drones over the new year as the two countries exchanged fire. Julia Chapman has the details.
Ukraine's Air Force said it shot down 87 of 90 drones launched by Russia in the early hours of January 1st. The head of the Russian-held Donetsk region said Ukraine carried out massive shelling overnight. Aerial attacks by Russia and Ukraine have intensified in recent days. Russia launched its largest ever wave of missile and drone attacks at cities across Ukraine on Friday, killing 28 people.
A Ukrainian air raid on the Russian city of Belgorod on Saturday killed 25 people. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he's ready to intensify attacks against Ukraine's military targets. In neighbouring China, leader Xi Jinping claims Taiwan will be reunified with China. His remarks, made in his annual New Year's Eve address, come just days before Taiwan's presidential election. Beijing believes the self-governing island and its 23 million citizens should be under its control. China's ramped up military pressure on the territory ahead of the vote. Taiwan's government accuses the superpower of interfering in democracy. The Israeli military says it expects the conflict in Gaza to continue throughout 2024, with troops preparing for prolonged fighting in the Strip. Some 22,000 people, mostly women and children, have been killed in Gaza since October 7th, when Hamas killed 1,200 people in Israel and kidnapped hundreds more. The war spilled out to the wider region, with Houthi rebels from Yemen attacking commercial ships in the Red Sea. The United States Navy sunk 3 boats operated by the Iranian-backed militants. The UK too is standing by, as Simon Gaitan reports.
Defence Secretary Grant Shapps said in a newspaper article that the UK's forces in the Red Sea are willing to take direct action against Houthi rebels, having already shot down drones targeting international shipping through the Gulf.
From Bureaus Worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today remembering the utterly tremendous Tom Wilkinson, who died over the weekend at 75. He had an unparalleled range, and while most obituaries in their first paragraph mention the full Monty, in reality audiences will have their own favourite appearances that may transcend that 1997 smash. Wilkinson was born in Yorkshire in 1948, attended the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in London after spending some of his early years in Canada. His many successes included Shakespeare in Love, Belle, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. He detested interviews in which he was asked stupid questions, and 10 years ago offered this response when an inquisitor asked him which role had most removed him from his comfort zone.
Acting is my comfort zone.
Really?
Yeah, that's my area of expertise, and there's nothing I've ever done that's sort of discommoded me. There's some things that are more difficult than other things, but you solve them because that's what you're meant to do. If suddenly somebody put me on the top of a horse and in the middle of the Kentucky Derby, I would think I'm out of my comfort zone now. That would be, but acting. What? It's what I do.
The disdain in that answer explains partly why Tom Wilkinson never moved to Hollywood. Nominated twice for an Oscar, the actor died at home in North London, surrounded by family. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
Our top stories again. A powerful earthquake in Japan's triggered a tsunami warning along the country's west coast, where huge waves have already reached the shore. Ukraine says Russia launched a record number of drones over the new year as the two countries exchanged fire. And the Israeli military says it expects the conflict in Gaza to continue throughout 2024, with troops preparing for prolonged fighting in the Strip. That's the latest feature story news. I'm Benji Haya in Washington.
Markets went into a frenzy today after the price of money suddenly skyrocketed to $90 a dollar. Onion reporters spoke to economics professor Mark Cosgrave about the soaring cost of U.S. currency and the impact of increasingly unpredictable dollar-to-dollar rates.
Right now, money prices are steeply rising with no signs of slowing down. This morning alone, the price of dollars nearly tripled, with 1 cent worth approximately $6. That's exponentially higher than even a week ago when money was trading at roughly $53 on the dollar. To put it bluntly, we're now in the midst of a national economic crisis.
According to Cosgrave, the abrupt spike in dollar prices initially caused many Americans to hold on to their money, hoping that the $90 cost of dollars would soon dip back down. But as prices continued to climb, investors panicked and began purchasing as much money as possible.
But with the cost of quarters hitting $4.97 and the $5 bill jumping to a 12-year high of $372, the days when you could get $30 or $40 for just a couple of bucks are unfortunately long gone.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
Welcome to Declare Your Independence on the Free Talk Live Network.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
No fear here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, on Free Talk Live Network on Genesis. And we're talking with Cobus J, theinvisibletrust.org. Theinvisibletrust.org. I'm learning a lot, and I'm sure you are too.
Okay. The problem is you've accepted the marks of the beast. You said it's you, dummy. It's not you. You just have to define yourself and say, wait a second, this is a trust. I'm the beneficiary of this trust.
So this is a really easy way of going, Fine, you want the don't care because I'm the beneficiary.
Exactly.
I'm not that person.
Because
I'm not that.
The government,
the
that all caps name is three things. It's firstly, it's a vessel. It's a United States vessel. It's also a transmitting utility. Well, I won't get.
So when they say
that.
vessels, then we're going to get into Admiralty and fringe on.
Yeah, it's a commercial vessel. And it's a fictitious vessel, but and the third thing, more importantly, is
but that's how they look at it,
exactly,
as a vessel, just like they would a ship.
And they gave you this vessel to be used for your benefit. Now, if you're going to sink the vessel, the sharks are going to get you. You're going to have to swim, and maybe you're going to drown. So use the vessel for your benefit. Okay,
grab the beneficiary of it anyway.
Grab all the benefits you can. Go get credit for that entity. Okay. More importantly, it's a trust.
Okay. Here's another one. Here's another one for you.
Okay.
All right. We haven't even got to the freaking land, but here we have as a vessel.
Yeah.
I'm 62. At 62, can I get my Social Security benefits? Yes.
Absolutely.
I can start going through that.
Grab the benefits.
Okay. Let me get there.
Yeah.
But if I wait, it's more. And I'm going. I don't trust them to be around. I'd be shocked if I'm shocked that I made it to 62. Mm-hmm. I could get any benefit. It's still there. Of course, you can buy a loaf of bread with you $1 million. But, I'm like, didn't anticipate it was going to make it this long. So now I could get the benefits. But then as soon as you look at I go, if I get it now, I think, wow, I would actually get some benefit now. I could just have it do pay a bank deduction that goes to some a friend of mine that has a precious metal broker, and I just get convert it to silver every month, and I win. Ha 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 ha. Okay, so I'm just like, heck yeah! I didn't spend 5 minutes on it looking at all that. I ain't filling out this crap. This is agree. I totally agree. I totally agree. I agree.
Yeah,
but if part of the first things that I do is this, I wish to amend and change and stamp of when I first filled this out, I was 16.
Yeah.
I wasn't even of age. Bite me. I do it. Maybe I asked for the card again one time, and maybe so I might need something. But I go, all right, I will fill this out. I am the beneficiary of
there
this.
You go.
Timestamp this thing, dude. Boom. Now give me my benefits, baby.
Exactly. That changes everything, and so you get the best of both worlds. So you can go apply credit for the trust, okay, and receive the benefits from it, okay, and again, when you find yourself in a court situation, you just tell the judge that you know trust law. I'm the beneficiary of John Henry Smith with an interest in this matter, and I demand from you, the trustee, to settle this case, dismiss it, do whatever, and make it go away. That's it. Because remember, if the judge doesn't do that, he is guilty of trust fraud and breach of trust.
Yeah, which is why they brought these guys. I can see it makes more sense now because I remember there was fully informed jury activism that was going on in the mid-'90s here in Arizona. That finally they got the Supreme Court came out with a decision after we were just hammering on them. They weren't telling us what's up at the same time this, rights reserve thing and sovereign citizens, and they were bringing in, retired magistrates doing this, or pro tem attorneys, pro tem judge, a part-time judge.
Yeah.
And they go, Constitution doesn't exist in my courtroom. I'm like, who the hell?
Well,
when did that become a phrase?
Well, the judge is right on that because you remember now you can't change that court into a constitutional court. And
this is my point. They were able to say.
Let me mention this: there's a couple out there which you should get hold of. Their name is Jack and Margie Flynn. They're constitutional teachers. And they have a near 100% success rate on all the people that they help with court cases because this is what they do when they go to court. The first thing they do is they ask the judge, before we get started, I just got a question. Number one, have you taken an oath under the Constitution to uphold the Constitution? Yes or no? If he says no, okay, bailiff, arrest this man. He's an imposter. He has no right to be there and he has no jurisdiction. So he has to say yes. So as soon as he says yes.
A lot of times we've checked on this. Some of them, they have not taken that oath.
Well, then you can do just that because then he has no right or jurisdiction to be there. So once he says yes, then you ask this question. Oh, I'm sorry. Then you make the statement. Okay. Thank you very much. I will now hold you to that oath. Guess what you've just done? You have just now converted that court into a constitutional court. Okay? He is now duty-bound to uphold your rights under the Constitution because he took that oath. Now, I will take it one step further and ask one more question. Thank you very much, Judge, for acknowledging that. I will now hold you to that oath. I got one more question. It's come to my attention that many judges have taken the oath of Kol Nidre, Kolnidre, the oath of Kol Nidre. And the oath of Kol Nidre, my understanding is that it's an oath that nullifies all other oaths. Have you taken the oath of Kol Nidre or taken such an oath? Yes or no?
Whoa!
Now you got him.
Okay, now wait.
Because remember, all of these judges, all of your judges, 100% of them are Freemasons. All of them. They're 32 or 33 degree Freemasons.
Okay. So this oath that you're referencing here is some from where? Where did that come from?
Well, look it up. I don't have my computer in front of me, but I do have.
Well, I mean, it's not a government thing. I took an oath to undo all the oaths that I said I took because I'm not under that oath.
You have to understand. You have to understand. All of these judges are part of a secret society club. Okay. And they're all Freemasons, so they take these secret oaths, and one of them is called the oath of Kol Nidre, that nullifies their oath under the Constitution. This is why they're getting away with what they're getting away with.
Sneaky sons of bitches, man.
Yeah, really sneaky sons of bitches. So if you throw this in their face, okay, you have now put it on the record. Okay, let the record now show that this judge has not taken an oath under Kol Nidre. He has taken an oath under. So I expect from you now, Judge, to uphold my constitutional, my God-given rights. What you have just done now is you've turned that court into a constitutional court. Now, if you do not do that, then you are under Maritime Admiralty Court, and it's by default it's not a common law court in America anymore unless you invoke the Constitution in that situation. Now you're going to get remedy.
Okay, now see how you're going to get remedy. You know, they got to be willing to give you remedy.
At least you have a better chance to get remedy because, first of all, I will just say this. If I would ever be invited to go to court in the form of a summons or in the form of a bench warrant and stuff, I'm not showing up. I'm not going. Why? Because, firstly, what's going on in that court is nothing but practice of religion. The religion of Satan. And it's not my church. It's not my religion. So the moment you walk through that door voluntarily, you have just recognized their jurisdiction. You have just given authority.
Well, what about subpoenas?
Well, the same thing. Well, if you don't want to go, I'm sorry. But remember, they're always serving the trust. They don't serve you, dummy. And this is the analogy that I use to people. I always use this kind of as a joke. We all know that cartoon that none of our parents would ever want to watch our children to watch. It's called Beavis and Butthead, right?
Yeah, no.
Beavis and Butthead.
I know Beavis and
Let's say, for example...
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
I want Donna to pull up something.
Yeah.
Donna, probably in your email is the subpoena, the actual subpoena from the J6 thing. Can you pull that up on your computer for me? Go ahead and pull that up and send me in Telegram that document so I can open it as a PDF or something because I want to see something.
So what happens is that when you get a piece of mail from a court, a subpoena, a summons, or whatever, it's always going to have the old cap's name there, first, middle, last. Well, is that you or is that not you? No, that's a trust name. If you don't want to deal with that matter, okay, then like for example, what if that piece of mail was made out to Beavis and Butthead? Mm-hmm. Now, the moment you open that letter and go, okay, and respond to it or show up for it, what does that not make you a butthead? Okay, because you put yourself as a surety in somebody else's shoes. You acknowledge that you are the trust. You acknowledge that you are that artificial construct, and so.
This is okay. I want to. I've had these kinds of conversations before, and I'm very interested in this. And I'm not espousing you're not absolutely correct, but this is where I go. It doesn't matter. They don't care. They're going to whatever. But you have a strong case, and especially this is what I was going to say. Let me express myself, and you understand. when you're at the side of the road, when you got the FBI from the J6 and Department of Justice coming in, banging on your daughter's door because you registered your Jeep there, okay, that we did a show, a January 6th thing, one of the guys, whatever. So the FBI and the Department of Justice, they're on my case for a year and a half. You have to, and you got it, and I go, yeah, subpoena me. Then I'll go, well, you have to come talk. I don't have to nothing. When you subpoena me, I can say Fifth Amendment all day long, okay? So this is, finally it goes, it's a year and a half later, finally, boom, subpoena, okay? Fine. They pay for my trip to Washington. I go get there. Finally, they go, damn it. He's going to do what he said in Fifth Amendment.
Well, did you say subpoena me, and who did they subpoena?
Exactly.
Precisely.
Okay. Now, I understand.
Therein lies the problem.
I understand.
It's the identity crisis
I
in America.
understand. Let me finish.
Okay.
So my point is that when you're making these arguments, I was willing to go to jail and make the argument that as the host of the show, they wanted me to certify so they could use it in a criminal case, that I was on that show. I'm not going to incriminate myself so you can beat me over the head with it, which is exactly what happened to Owen Schroyer, which is on InfoWars. He did the same thing, messed with it, but he cooperated. So then, boom, you serve time. I can feel it, man. They were going after, Mr. Ron Paul Revolution guy and Freedom's Phoenix and, Declare Your Independence show with, Pirates Bite Me, okay? So they're going to get some. And we're going, ooh, we want some Ernie. I go, the show's permanently on the internet. Can't be censored, deleted the way we did it. You know what I said? We listened. Okay, well, then we're good. Well, what am I going to add to that? Well, we need you to participate like you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, at the very least, I'd say Fifth Amendment. No, you can't. What do you mean I can't? No, you can't because whatever crap I didn't care.
Right.
We're going to find out. But you have to be willing to find out. So when you do this kind of stuff on the side of the road with the not so constitutional, didn't care if he took an oath or not, I got a gun, deputy sheriff of, in the boondocks of whatever the hell, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. Okay?
Let him bring you in front of the Black Robe Devil.
Okay, this is the point. So then when you have the same kind of thing, it's a summons, a subpoena, this, or that. You have to make these decisions, and are you going to do it right then if I was happen to be there and they're in front of my face trying to intimidate you and whatever? Come to find they call me. We're out front, your front door. We know you're in there. I go, no, you're not. I'm in freaking states away. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. It was my daughter.
Okay.
She was at, and she's cool. She's like, banging. She's just ignoring them. I'm definitely not buying their solar panels. She's
right.
Sales representative.
It's intimidation.
So exactly. So a lot of people, that's really not the place. You got to preemptively get this stuff ready and have it right in your head that you're going to challenge. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I do this process to create a trust, I am ready to. I'm doing this to challenge on the property that I wish. This is the hill that I want to defend.
Well, see, I have seen so much corruption in the courts, right? And this is why. And now I myself have developed the skills of knowing how to deal with this police, how to deal with the Black Robe Devils. They don't want me in their courtrooms, and I wait for the day. For 8 years, my person had a bench warrant in California's website. Sheriff's website. Okay. But I never showed up, and they knew where I lived. They never came for me, and I was pulled over multiple times, and they didn't take me in. And I was like, okay, I'm just waiting now to go, to talk to one of the Black Robe Devils. But so a lot of what they're doing is they're calling the trust, and they're hoping that you're going to step up and put yourself and acknowledging to be that person. Okay. And the moment you do, then they got you. Because remember, that trust is their slave, and slaves have no rights. That's why they have the right to pull your granny out of the vehicle and throw her head to the curb, because she's their slave. Because you don't have anything on the record anywhere to prove that you are not that person, that you're not that trust, that you have changed your relationship in respect to that trust. I'm the beneficiary to this. That's why it's very important, and status change. But I know we're veering off a little bit. But what I've found that the best way that you can do to protect yourself is to set yourself up with a private, non-statutory trust that no government official can ever interfere with or pierce. I mean, this is protected
over time.
Well,
I mean, you got. I mean, they're going to be a guy.
No, I will tell you.
With your sunglasses, say, "Yeah, I can."
Government do understand.
Bunch of times.
The government do understand jurisdiction. Okay, I'm helping a guy right now that's going through a Chapter 7 situation, and the bankruptcy judge asked. Well, actually, they brought up this issue about a trust because he's been operating under this private trust for a couple of years. And so they're demanding that he declares his assets. Well, they're aware that the trust is there. So a special meeting was arranged to discuss this trust. Well, when the judge found out that it was a private common law trust, he didn't even, I'm talking about not the judge, the trustee for bankruptcy. He didn't show up for that meeting. And the attorney told him that they told the attorney that they have no jurisdiction over this trust. So they do honor jurisdiction. I can tell you that for sure. The only reason why they do rough handle you, why they do to you what they do to you, is because you are operating as their fiction. You are telling them that you are John Henry Smith. Okay, so you're identified as the trust.
When you look at the story of render unto Caesar that is Caesar's and God's gods, it's definitely not Caesar's.
No,
okay?
no.
Well, they're going to say it is.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we got right here, and it says, and they carry your patent forward, and this is mine, and I get my deed original, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But if I'm doing an invisible trust, this trust thing, what hook am I hanging my hat on?
Here's what you're doing. You're basically setting up a God trust. You're setting up a religious trust, a ministry, okay? And this ministry, all of us should be in the
ministry if it's not Caesar's. That's my ministry.
All of us should be in the business of doing ministry, serving God and serving your fellow man. Okay, and we're going to talk about the word church in just a minute, but let's just talk about trust. And first of all, our whole idea with our trust. Let's go back on how trust was used in ancient times. A wealthy man with a very large estate has been called up to the military to go fight a war, or he's going to go on an ocean cruise, and he doesn't know if he's going to come back. So what he's going to do, he's going to choose somebody in his life that he trusts, and that's called a trustee. He's going to say, "Listen, I just created this trust. I'm putting my entire estate in this trust, and I'm going to have you." Appoint you as a trustee to administer this trust for my young children who are the beneficiaries, so that if I don't come back, you make sure their needs are taken care of. And that's how trusts were used. So the purpose of a trust is to hold and protect money, assets, and property. But remember, a
beneficiary can be a trustee, right?
No, correct. Basic trust law is the grantor can never be the trustee cannot be the beneficiary. They have to be distinct, separate. Now, with statutory trust, that rule is broken, and this is why they want you to have such a trust, so that they can penetrate your trust, because it legitimizes.
Well, see, what I'm
trust.
thinking is, if I create this trust, well, who's the beneficiaries? Well, my family.
I'll get into that. So when we set up this trust, we're going to set it up in a way that on paper there's going to be no appearance that you, the trustee, have any beneficial interest in ownership of the trust. Now, let's say you have $1 million, right? And you put that into a trust. What would you much rather want to be? Would you want to be the grantor, the creator of the trust, the trustee, or the beneficiary?
I want to benefit.
Okay, you want to benefit. Now, let me tell you what you want to be. You want to be the trustee and only the trustee. Why? Because own nothing, control it all. So you want to have full control.
Okay.
Understand? Now, Adam and Eve is an example of being the first trustees. They didn't own the garden, but God made them trustees of the garden. But yet, as trustees, they have full benefit to enjoy the benefits of the fruit of the garden. You know, the trust was able to fuel up the jet or whatever. I'm just using as a joke, but you get my point. They were stewards. They were administrators over the garden, but they had a quasi beneficiary role in that trust relationship. But God owned the garden, okay, or it was put into a trust. and so they were just they were just trustees. Now, so when we set up this trust, okay, you're going to ask a family or friend or somebody to do the honors on paper to be the grantor for that trust. You don't want to be the grantor and the trustee. Statutory trust, they set you up like that. And in fact, the IRS encourage you to walk into that landmine and step right into it, so that the first question they ask you, who's the grantor? You put down the grantor, you go to the next screen, and they automatically transfer the information from the grantor box over to the trustee. So the moment you become both of those, guess what? Now they can penetrate your trust. And secondly, now there's proof that you have a beneficial interest and ownership in this trust. Now, here's the second question about talking about ownership. Who owns the trust? That's $1 million question. Who do you think owns the trust?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm confused, man.
Well, again, this is why they didn't teach us anything in high school and college about trust. Okay, here's the answer. Because I was asked this question by a banking manager one time, and I said, that's a good question. I said to her, in the case of corporations and LLCs, you have owners. Trusts don't have owners; they only have grantors.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict, or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Benji Haya. A powerful earthquake in Japan's triggered a tsunami warning along the country's west coast, where huge waves have already reached the shore. Monday's quake caused homes to collapse and ripped up roads. Residents are being evacuated from affected areas. Several hospitals are without power. The tsunami alert is Japan's first since a 2011 earthquake, which left close to 20,000 people dead. From Tokyo, Chris Gilbert brings us the latest.
We have a 7.6 magnitude earthquake, and that effectively has triggered a number of tsunamis which we've seen begin to hit Japan. These have ranged from a few centimeters in height to about 1.6 meters. The enormous tsunami which hit Japan about 12 years ago was 13 to 30 meters, so these are much smaller.
No irregularities have been found yet from nuclear power plants along the Sea of Japan. Elsewhere, Ukraine says Russia launched a record number of drones over the new year as the two countries exchanged fire. Julia Chapman has the details.
Ukraine's Air Force said it shot down 87 of 90 drones launched by Russia in the early hours of January 1st. The head of the Russian-held Donetsk region said Ukraine carried out massive shelling overnight. Aerial attacks by Russia and Ukraine have intensified in recent days. Russia launched its largest ever wave of missile and drone attacks at cities across Ukraine on Friday, killing 28 people.
A Ukrainian air raid on the Russian city of Belgorod on Saturday killed 25 people. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he's ready to intensify attacks against Ukraine's military targets. In neighbouring China, leader Xi Jinping claims Taiwan will be reunified with China. His remarks, made in his annual New Year's Eve address, come just days before Taiwan's presidential election. Beijing believes the self-governing island and its 23 million citizens should be under its control. China's ramped up military pressure on the territory ahead of the vote. Taiwan's government accuses the superpower of interfering in democracy. The Israeli military says it expects the conflict in Gaza to continue throughout 2024, with troops preparing for prolonged fighting in the Strip. Some 22,000 people, mostly women and children, have been killed in Gaza since October 7th, when Hamas killed 1,200 people in Israel and kidnapped hundreds more. The wall spilled out to the wider region, with Houthi rebels from Yemen attacking commercial ships in the Red Sea. The United States Navy sunk 3 boats operated by the Iranian-backed militants. The UK, too, is standing by, as Simon Gaitan reports.
Defence Secretary Grant Shapps said in a newspaper article that the UK's forces in the Red Sea are willing to take direct action against Houthi rebels, having already shot down drones targeting international shipping through the Gulf.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, on the Free Talk Live Network. On Genesis, we're talking to Cobus J, the InvisibleTrust.org, theinvisibletrust.org. Lots of great information on how you can maintain your privacy, your wealth, and your leave me aloneism. Let's continue listening in my conversation with Cobus J, theinvisibletrust.org.
Who owns the trust? That's $1 million question. Who do you think owns the trust?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm confused, man.
Well, again, this is why they didn't teach us anything in high school and college about trust. Okay. Here's the answer. Because I was asked this question by a banking manager one time, and I said, that's a good question. I said to her, in the case of corporations and LLCs, you have owners. Trusts don't have owners. They only have grantors. Now, think about that. It's a very beautiful thing, because if a trust does not have an owner, typically in ownership, there's attachment. So if you say that Ernest Hancock owns this computer right here, your all caps name, your United States Trust account name is really the one that owning this. Guess what? It can be taken from you because you gave ownership to your legal title. And your legal title, your commercial name doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the government. Okay? So that's why you don't want ownership in anything. That's why you own nothing, you control it all. And just as the government has the ability to create these legal fictions in our names, okay, after our parents name us, we also have the right. Just as God is a creator, we, having God in us, we can procreate, but we can also create persons. We can also create trusts and corporations, okay? So when you create a private trust, because what is a trust? A trust is a contract. It's an agreement. It's a covenant, okay? So if you and I, again, back to our bartering relationship, if I put a roof on your house, you're going to fix my computers. Do we need to get the IRS involved in that relationship? No, it's a private contract. It's a private bartering relationship, okay? So now, if you're going to enter into a marriage license, well, you just allowed the government now to come in and have a role in that contract.
Prima nocte with Uncle Sam.
Yeah,
your first wedding night's a menage a trois with the old man.
Yeah. A lot of people wake up today and are realizing, hey, we ought to be doing a common law marriage, just like you ought to be doing a common law trust. It's a private agreement. So that's why a judge cannot interfere with that. That's why the bankruptcy trustee said, we can't have a meeting about this because I have no jurisdiction over this trust. It's a common law trust. They have no jurisdiction.
Let me ask you this question also. When we go and we purchase this, we're probably going to go, probably all cash the way things are looking now. We just go, all right, boom.
Okay.
Claim it to
the trust.
The trust.
Exactly.
Because I'm not using a bank. It didn't have to go to me.
Exactly.
So I just do it to this trust I set up before I even get the land.
That's right. Uh-huh.
So when I do this trust, how complicated this. Well, I know I pay you money and you'll freaking take care of business. But I mean, how much time goes by? How difficult is?
Oh no, it happens right away. Once you, depending on the state, some states will from the moment you get it recorded, okay, you put the quitclaim deed together, it gets notarized. The party that sells the land, they're the ones that's going to quitclaim deed it. Okay, but you're going to make sure that the contract is to the trust. So you're going to give them the trust. We're going to put a trust indenture together. You give them a trust. The trust is simply there to show them that this is evidence that a trust exists and was organized. Okay, here's the legal document.
Am
Here's
I
the contract.
filing that trust without any assets at all with a recorder's office?
No. What happens is that the county recorder will get a copy of the trust on the private side. The trust itself will not be recorded for the public to see. But there's important things on the trust, such as who is the trustee, and
does that document go with the recording of the land?
Well, the only thing that gets recorded is the quitclaim deed itself. Okay, and the party that transfers the property, they're the ones that sign over. No,
I understand, but all right. But good example. It goes from a quit. It's quit claim. So it's a quit claim. I don't have a claim on it. I just send it over.
Right.
So quit claim goes to Fred's trust. Okay.
Yeah.
So I go, all right, I did it to Fred.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, somebody else comes up and says, yeah, I'm Fred.
Well, no, it's not that easy because when you
how do I validate Fred's trust? Where does that get filed or not filed?
Well,
the trust notary something.
I'll explain that. The trust actually gets notarized, officially by a notary. So you, as the trustee, go in front of a notary to notarize your page as the trustee. So it legitimizes the trust. That gets recorded. Your driver's license gets taken down, so nobody can confuse that.
So
right?
I can put that on a 3x5 card.
That's one of the pages of the trust indenture. That trust indenture is given to the county recorder's office. They don't record it, but they keep it on their private files as evidence. As proof that you are the trustee of that trust. Remember, one thing I want you to understand. The trustee is the God/deputized sheriff of the trust. Nobody comes to the trust but to the trustee. When we go open up a bank account for the trust, they don't deal with the grantor, the creator of the trust. No, they only deal with the trustee. So the trustee is really God to the trust.
No, I understand. You answer this simple question. When I if I'm not having that trust that I created, Ernie's trust, whatever,
right?
That I have that trust, or not Ernie's trust, or however I go to say.
That's why you never call your trust the John and Mary Smith Family Trust. You're going to call it something like Helping Hands Ministry Trust.
All right.
Okay.
Helping Hands.
All right.
So I go. I help myself. Helping Hands. All right. Here we go.
Okay.
So I do my trust. All right. I go to the bank. I need to open up an account under the trust of whatever the heck.
Okay.
That's possible. I
do it all the time, yeah.
So then I go and I say, all right, I need a quit claim of this property
all right.
to this trust.
Let's just make it clear. The banking trust, typically, we want to create a separate trust that holds your money assets for the banking and a totally separate trust that holds your house or your property. We always want to set up a completely separate trust for each property.
Okay, we're going to run out of time. That's good to know, but let's stick with the house. So I go, all right, do the quit, I got to say it, not quick, it's quit claim from this, and they don't give a crap. Show me the cash
owner,
and we're all over it.
Right, from the current owner to the trust. The trust is a person.
So we go to the trust. It's in this trust.
Yeah.
Well, if that trust is not recorded, I just gave it to a trust that, does anybody know that's me?
No, that's why you need to have it recorded because you're making a claim and you're letting the public know that I have a claim.
So I have it recorded as this land now goes to, Helping Hand Trust of Ernie.
Correct.
Okay. Well, not of Ernie. All right.
No.
I'm just trying to, so the audience knows it's mine.
You're just the trustee. Don't ever call it your trust or my trust. No, I'm not the owner of this trust. I'm a trustee. That's it.
I'm a trustee of this trust. We got to get our language right. Do it right, Ernie. All right. So I have this quit claim of this land goes to this trust.
Correct.
When I file that quit claim and transfer to the trust, it's going to be at the county saying this trust has that property.
Let me just say this. If you're the current owner of that property and the property is in your name, you would be the one doing the quitclaim deed from you to the trust. So you and your wife are going to sign or notarize a page as the grantors, in which you're granting this property from your name, moving it out of your name and you give it to that person known as the trust, Helping Hands Ministry Trust. Okay?
But there's a signature. There's some identifying the trustee.
Correct.
Where is that filed?
Correct.
How do they know? How come Fred can't come up and say it's mine?
No,
now?
you're making this too complicated. It's very simple.
Okay, well, tell me the simple.
The quitclaim deed gets notarized by you. If both of you own the house, both of you will notarize it as the grantor. Okay? Then it's expressed that this trust now owns it. But remember, you're going to give a copy of the trust indenture to the people at the county. They're going to keep it in their private records.
Private record?
Their private file.
What the hell I got a private record for? I need a public record.
Well, the trust will never be like, for example, if it's a corporation, there's articles of organization. In the case of a trust, you typically have a document known as the Declaration of Private Trust. That's really the trust indenture. And the trust usually does not get recorded because you don't need to record all the terms and da-da-da. You don't have to record it. You just need to, now remember, when you quitclaim deed the property to that trust, you and your wife are going to be listed as trustee and co-trustee. There you go. Okay. So that gets recorded. So your names as the trustee, instead of your names as the owner, your names are as the trustee of the trust.
Okay, so there's some link to this trust.
Oh, yeah,
somewhere.
absolutely.
Okay, well, that's all I was asking.
Yeah.
There's some link somewhere. It's got where Fred's not going to come up and say it's mine.
No, listen, it's not that difficult. I mean, you can go to your county recorder computer.
It was difficult until you said that.
Yeah. I'll now let's talk about the banking side real quick because this is really important. Anybody who wants to go and learn more about this, go to theinvisibletrust.org. But I have a link on the website that basically, let me read this off. There's two cases that says money deposited in a bank without special arrangement becomes the property of the bank.
Yep.
Now let me ask you, Ernest. You have a bank account, right? Did you ever read your banking agreement? Okay,
I'm thinking.
The answer is no.
Well, no,
nobody ever has.
Not that I remember, but I do remember reading a bunch of
but let me ask
my
you something.
documents because I go, yep.
But let me
they're screwing me there. They're screwing. That's how I found out that it's not my money.
Right. Well,
because I did read it to where when you put it on deposit,
okay,
they're the ones that decide. It's right. That's why I say it's kind of your money. You just can't have it now.
No, let me tell you that you can only be one of two things in relationship to the bank. You are either the account holder or the account owner. Which do you think you are? You're the holder. Yes. Yeah. That means, according to this case, there's two of these cases. One is called Caledonia National Bank versus McPherson. Money deposited in a bank without special arrangement becomes the property of the bank. The moment the money is deposited, it becomes the property of the bank. All you get is you get the right to draw therein, and the title, the prima facie, passes to the bank. Now, what good is it if you have drawing rights, but the bank can call in their property any time?
This is what the great taking thing was all about. All this stuff. Right. I know, man.
So secondly, what you don't realize, too, is you also gave the bank a power of attorney. Not a limited power of attorney, a power of attorney. Okay, now, if you give me your power of attorney, Ernst, I can take everything from you. Okay, so we signed an unconscionable agreement with the bank. First of all, the bank became the owner of our deposits. We gave them a power of attorney by operation of law. And then thirdly is the jurisdiction. Okay, and remember, in law, jurisdiction is everything. If a judge does not have jurisdiction, there's nothing he can do. He cannot rule. The United States cannot tax Russian citizens because they have no jurisdiction. End of story. Over Russian citizens.
They claim jurisdiction over U.S. people anywhere else on the planet.
Right, because U.S. citizens are securities and they're property of the United States. So that's why, because you dummy went ahead and said you are Ernest Hancock.
Ooh!
You said you were Ernest Hancock.
All right.
Anyways.
All right, so on the banking thing, you say unless another agreement.
Right. Now,
okay, so is that trust part of that agreement?
Absolutely, because this is where this comes in.
Ding.
Now,
I'm so smart.
It says money deposited in the bank without special arrangement becoins the property. Now, let me read from the second case. Montana, Wyoming, I can't even pronounce that, of Credit Men versus Commercial National Bank. And it says here that, if I can just find it here real quick here. Deposit is a general one of which the bank becomes the owner.
Bastards.
It talks about special deposit versus general deposits. All your deposits goes into the bank as a general deposit. A special deposit is where they have to set aside the money. They can't necessarily loan that money out. So if there's a run on the bank, so now remember,
God, audience, does this sound a lot like my David Webb conversation to Great Taking? I'm telling you, this is details of all of this
Let me
stuff.
tell you something.
It's already gone, man.
You just have to remember one thing. Contract is law and law is contract, okay? Now, and I always tell people, I say to people, and sometimes I address some pastors of churches, and I said, listen, you didn't read your banking agreement. You didn't read your mortgage agreement. I said, why did you sell your birthright? You did exactly what Esau did with Jacob when he sold his birthright for a bowl of lentil soup. Because either through instant gratification, or he didn't read the contract. He was in 1 year,
or
out
he didn't
the other
understand it.
Or he didn't understand it.
I read to the point where I go,
Yeah.
okay, gobbledygook, I get it, But so I don't trust.
Now, on it also says, according to majority cases, where there is no definite understanding. In other words, if you don't have a definite understanding, if you don't have a contract with the bank, right, between the depositor and the bank as to the ownership of the paper. In other words, when I go and open up a bank account for the trust, I want you to understand one thing. That's why I'm not the only guy out there setting up common law trusts. But this is a very important thing that I want everybody to understand. That if the bank is the owner of the trust deposits, it's not a trust anymore. Do you understand that? If the trustee loses even 1% control over that trust, it's not a trust anymore. Then you now have a statutory trust controlled by the bank, which is essentially an agent for the Federal Reserve. Okay, and so it's very important that when we go to the bank and set up a bank account for the trust, and this is why I go with people to the bank, where I've trained some people around the country to do this, that we give the bank a contract, an agreement. And that contract, it would clearly state, first of all, that the trust is the owner of the bank of the deposits, that the bank's power of attorney is limited only to banking fees and monthly charges, and we address things like jurisdiction and a few other things that's very important.
Well, you got to have a bank willing to do that, which is why we went to.
I want to ask you guys: do you guys want to come back tomorrow and?
No, we got to wrap it up. We got to wrap it up. We could go on and on. The reason I'm standing out is going to have Donna take over for a second. I had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But this has been really interesting. We need to talk more. Well, you're going to be going back to Phoenix this evening, or?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to write. We can talk off air. You guys don't get it. Ha ha ha. But I will go ahead and and we'll walk this process through. There's a couple of things that I want
if there
to do.
is an interest, we can have another discussion on this.
Yeah. We're gonna do that. Go ahead and give out your commercial. Go ahead and make sure people know your webpage and what you can do, the services that you provide, everything. Go ahead, man.
Okay, well, plain and simple. Just go and visit the site called theinvisibletrust.org. And if go through the slide, the trust presentation, okay? Go through there, and at the end of my trust presentation, you will pass Trust 101, okay? Because, guys, trust is not that hard, okay? And you don't ever have to pick up a trust book and bury your head in a trust manual. Trust is very, very simple, and I try to make it simple. And anytime it's complicated, the devil is in the details. And all of these attorneys, if you're going to have attorneys set you up with a trust, it's a statutory trust, okay? And very likely you're going to be the grantor also of that trust, meaning that the trust can be taxed. But so learn more about this. If any of you guys are interested, the reason why I set up a religious trust for two reasons. Because number one is there's First Amendment protection, okay? And secondly, we have laws in this country where you cannot discriminate against black people, gay people, and religion, okay? So when it's a religion, and then the banks cannot, it deters the banks from being able to say, no, we're not going to give you a bank account, or from possibly closing the bank account.
Good point.
And it's also going to make your passage in America more easy, because later on, when you call your trust Helping Hands Christian Ministry Trust, and you now have quit claim deed your house into that trust, well, guess what? The county officials are going to think carefully before they're going to come and attack this church, attack this religion. Okay, and I'll just leave it at that. So check it out. If you guys are want to learn more about this, reach out to me. And
well, they're going to be learning more about it because we're going to be walking through and give me some time to digest this. But
yeah.
How available are you? I mean, you happen to be in Arizona now, but you.
Yeah, I'm in Arizona right now. And,
well, I mean, you live in Europe, South Africa. You're all. I mean, where?
Yeah, I'm all over the place. I'm an international traveler, but I'm at least back in the U.S. at least every 3 months.
Okay, so I mean, and you're available online, and we can go through. All right. So, and do we want to give out price, or does it depend, or how you want?
Yeah, I won't announce the price right now on the show. I don't list the price, but reach out to me, and we'll talk about the. It's basically
it's not free.
No, it's not free. Absolutely, but what I want what everybody to understand is that going to the bank and doing this requires a little bit of skill because, and this is the skill that I've perfected over the years because sometimes we get resistance at the bank where they don't want to open up the account or they'll ask questions that you're not going to know. So I go to the bank with you and hold your hand, or I've trained a few people around the country to do just that. So if you're in a certain region, like in Florida or whatever,
Well, you just did this process for Peter.
I just set Peter up with the trust. So Peter, now his whole business. The beautiful thing is his business, all the revenue generated by this is now donated to the trust. Okay? So
okay, let me ask you this.
So
do you even have to fill out a tax form?
No, the trust will
Boom, I'm in.
No.
I'm tired.
Yeah, actually it's 100% legal and it's recognized by the IRS. So I will give you guys a hint. You can go to Google and type in 26 U.S.C. 508C1A and look for the term mandatory exception. The IRS says that by mandatory exception, okay,
say that slower. Get your pen.
Yeah.
Hey, I know everybody. Wait. Get to your computer. Put up a search or something. Okay. Now say this slowly.
All right. Think of this as a 501c3. We all know what a 501c3 is. It's a tax-exempt organization.
Yeah, too many meetings and forums.
But without the strings attached. So it's basically a 501c3 with mandatory exceptions. In other words, this type of entity does not have to ever file with the IRS, according to the IRS's own the horse's mouth. Okay, or have to report income or have to report anything. But remember, the trust does not receive income; it receives donations. Okay.
Okay, go ahead and give this out again. Everybody's ready. They got their fingers on the keyboard. They're ready.
26 USC 508C1A. Okay.
26 USC
508C1A.
508C1A.
And it talks about mandatory exceptions. And so you're going to find that it says that churches, associations of churches, auxiliaries of churches, and conventions.
So this is when we were doing a different trusts and so on, and 501c3s, and probably like 10, 12 people were doing this. And then they had the IRS. They were denying conservatives and different groups. So this, they can't. It's mandated. You can't deny.
Absolutely. Unless you are part of the 99% of churches in America that choose to structure themselves as IRS churches known as 501c3, because those are incorporated churches. And the government
we've done shows on that.
And the IRS have jurisdiction over them, but over this they do not.
Thanks for coming on. This has been great, Cobus. It was worth coming up here to do this for a lot of reasons and meet some new people and so on.
This was fun.
We got, dang it, we spent all after. Yeah, it's getting cold, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's warm. It's 70, 80 degrees, and then, the sun goes down. You're in the mountain, down cold, and I'm getting cold.
Yeah.
So peace. Thank you very much, Cobus. This is, and the website, so you guys know, is
theinvisibletrust.org.
Theinvisibletrust.org. Thank you very much. Hey!
This hour of Free Talk Live is brought to you by Dash Digital Cash. Dash is the cryptocurrency designed to be used for spending. Rising fees have made Bitcoin useless for purchases, but Dash continues to have fees less than 1 cent per transaction, and its features ensure Dash is undefeated as the most useful cryptocurrency in the marketplace. From a technical standpoint, Dash transactions are irreversible, and its network is protected from 51% attacks by their Chainlocks technology. There's no need to wait for a confirmation before considering a Dash transaction complete, so it's great for merchants. Dash is one of the oldest